Well, folks, I am deep in the sub-basement of an old abandoned church here in Hell, Michigan for the next game being added to Collector's Quest. It will be game number 666,666,666. Now, the gentleman that was supposed to meet me here hasn't shown up, but the game is sitting right here in front of me with a note on the outside that says, "Do not open within this building." So I'm going to just go ahead and take the package, and I'm going to leave a note myself that says, "Sorry I missed you. Got the game though, thank you." And let's see what the game is.
The only way to explain this game is, have you ever had a nightmare while you were awake? Have you ever played a game so horrendous and so horrible it warps your mind to the point where you don't know if your gaming can continue, if your collecting can even continue?
Well, I guess that's it then. Season 3, let's do this. First up is Jurassic Park for the NES. So here is the intro screen, and the game is apparently made by Ocean. A dinosaur comes up slowly, and then its mouth opens. 2 players is apparently an option, so let's just press start. It talks about dinosaurs having taken over and rescuing Tim from a stampede of Triceratops. I mean, I don't remember that from the movie. It also mentions the use of the motion detectors for helpful information. We will see about that. So here we are. Other reviewers have pointed out that it looks like you play as Smokey the Bear. You start running around and getting these dinosaur eggs. The D-pad is pretty responsive and your controls are jump and shoot. Pretty simple. If you pick 2 players, it doesn't put 2 people on the screen, it just makes you share the total lives with a second player, so no thanks. But I just cannot remember where in the movie anybody is running around collecting eggs and shooting dinosaurs, so before we go any further, let's back up for just a moment. Jurassic Park is a novel by Michael Crichton, originally released in 1990. I haven't read this book yet, but I have several Crichton books that I hope to get to eventually, maybe after I catch up on all of these Stephen King books. Crichton would then assist in the screenplay for the movie adaptation released in 1993, but let me tell you what, this wasn't your usual movie adaptation. This movie was a huge deal, and the dinosaurs looked insanely realistic. Even in the present, looking back to 1993, it's stunning how well the CGI looks and how well the animatronics worked. Jurassic Park the movie was highly anticipated, and it was a smash hit blockbuster success. It made dinosaurs 10 times cooler, and if you were a kid at the time, you and everybody else was talking about Jurassic Park and dinosaurs and how the T-Rex was the coolest. The movie has several notable names. Sam Neill plays paleontologist Dr. Alan Grant, although he brought his eyes with him to Jurassic Park. He wouldn't need them later in Event Horizon. Laura Dern plays paleobotanist Dr. Ellie Sattler, who, along with Grant, have a keen interest and expertise in dinosaurs. Jeff Goldblum plays mathematician and chaos theorist Ian Malcolm. Goldblum's portrayal of this role would later become the inspiration for several memes, particularly Life Finds a Way, which is an explanation Malcolm gives when challenging the notion that making all the dinosaurs female can prevent them from breeding somehow. Considering Goldblum has also been a fly, well, maybe Malcolm's chaos theories should be considered. Richard Attenborough plays Hammond. No, not the inventor of the electric organ. Hammond is the creator of Jurassic Park. Well, not the book or the movie. Again, that was Crichton. No, I mean the actual theme park named Jurassic Park within Jurassic Park. Did I just make this confusing? Okay, movie plot without too many spoilers, so this makes sense. Hammond invites Malcolm, Grant, and Sattler to come to Jurassic Park, which is a secret theme park Hammond has created on a private island near Costa Rica. Jurassic Park has a variety of cloned dinosaurs, and the intent of the park is to eventually become an attraction available to the public. Investors in Hammond's park insist on having outside experts confirm the safety of the park after one of the employees is killed by a velociraptor at the beginning of the movie. So to be clear, the only reason the main characters are even on the island is Hammond needs them to say the park is safe. Attenborough is beloved for this role, however, some of Hammond's methods and decisions seem scummy or outright poor. I mean, for example, he has his grandkids brought in to see the park at the same time Malcolm, Grant, and Sattler are supposed to be verifying the safety of the park. You'd think Hammond would prefer to focus solely on the 3 characters who could easily shut down the entire operation instead of bringing a bunch of kids into play. But we're not here to bash on the movie or the story. I mean, there are a couple of things that don't entirely make sense, but the film is just too awesome to try to pick apart in this review video. Since he's already here on the third rock from the sun, Wayne Knight plays Dennis Nedry, the main computer guy for the park who feels he isn't compensated well enough and has been bribed to steal some dinosaur embryos. And of course, he has to do it at the same time as the rest of the nonsense is about to happen during the movie. Nedry's character is best remembered for the line, you didn't say the magic word, the response by Nedry's computer when Ray Arnold attempts to gain access to the computer system Nedry has shut down deliberately. Ray Arnold is played by Samuel L. Jackson, who of course needs no introduction, but please do not confuse him with Lawrence Fishburne like this news reporter did. In Jurassic Park, Arnold's character's classic repeatable line is, "Hold on to your butts." However, I can't make any jokes out of that since I made that reference in the last episode while coloring a dinosaur. So between a tropical storm, Nedry shutting down the park so he could attempt to smuggle the embryos out, and carnivorous dinosaurs, a recipe for disaster is being cooked. Literally, remove any one of these three things and the T-Rex probably wouldn't have gotten loose and attacked the kids. But then the movie would not have been as awesome because, I mean, come on, the dinosaurs gotta get loose, right? Alright, let's get back to the game. So I think you're supposed to be playing as Dr. Grant, and the idea is to gather all the eggs. On the left side is your life bar, your ammo, and the number of dinosaur eggs left on the screen. Grant carries a gun to shoot at the dinosaurs, but you can sometimes just outpace them to conserve ammo. There's even an appearance of that spitting dinosaur who took out Nedry in the movie. When you get all the eggs, you get a key card, but it doesn't take you into this building on the right. No, you gotta go to this building on the left, which has its own egg counter inside. I mean, what is with all the eggs? In the movie, there are some eggs, and one of them hatches, and then later Grant finds several eggs that already hatched, even though all the dinosaurs were supposed to have been female. It seems life, found a way, because the frog DNA used to clone the dinosaurs allowed them to change genders. This would be one of those weird story things I'm not so sure about, but anyway, there's a computer terminal in here, but it tells us that we can't unlock the gate from here. Instead, we have to go back out to the other building we couldn't go into before. All the dinosaurs will respawn, but at least you don't have to get the eggs again. Inside the next building, it's more of the same. Get eggs, kill the dinosaur, then you can access this terminal and open the Jurassic Park gate. So get back outside and then you can go through the open Jurassic Park gate where we find Tim. This part is relatively simple. You have to maneuver yourself and Tim to not get crushed by the stampeding Triceratops. But I have one issue with this. When in the movie did anyone get chased by stampeding Triceratops? There was a scene with a bunch of smaller dinosaurs running around, but the only Triceratops I recall was the sick one where the lady shoved her arms in the poop. Anyway, dodge enough of the tricky Triceratops and the level decides to end. According to the game, Tim tells you that his sister is hiding in the T-Rex enclosure. Oh, okay, she's hiding. You know, I could have sworn in the movie her and Grant rappelled down into the T-Rex enclosure while Tim, inside of the car, was knocked off the road by the T-Rex. This was one of the most epic scenes in the movie, but what was not an epic scene from the movie is Grant collecting eggs the entire movie. If there were really truly a bunch of eggs just lying around all over the place, Nedry would not have had such a difficult time smuggling out the dinosaurs. You know, I mean, I hate games like this, but at least there's some added variety. In the next section, we have to row upriver while dodging logs, dinosaurs spitting dino venom, and dinosaurs. I think it's an Apatosaurus? I do not recall any scene in the movie involving rowing upriver. And I don't recall Grant shooting a T-Rex to prevent the girl from being eaten. I mean, with the exception of the part where the T-Rex is knocking the car around and Grant is trying to save the kids, Grant is doing his best to stay as far away from the T-Rex as possible. The next set of instructions says we need to get the generator restarted. There is a part in the movie where Statler goes to get the power turned back on, and she turns all the zones back on in a specific order before one of the kids gets zapped with 10,000 volts and survives somehow. But instead, Smokey the Grant needs to collect 20 eggs. I mean, 20! This egg thing is getting old. Once you get all the eggs, you have to go back to the building where you started the level, thanks game designers, and once you're inside, you'll need to get rid of the spitting dinosaur. Then be sure to flip these switches. Not too tough. At least we didn't have to collect any eggs in here, but when you go back outside to get to the other building, all of the dinosaurs have once again respawned. In the next building, we have to go to these terminals in order. It tells you if you've gone to the wrong or the correct terminal, and from what I can tell, if you visit the wrong terminal, it doesn't force you to restart. I mean, that would be awful because there are several terminals, and the order is unknown if you don't have a guide or a walkthrough or something. But whenever you go to a terminal, all the dinosaurs respawn. This is helpful since it helps you get points, which I believe might help you get extra lives, but it's a pain because you can quickly go through your ammo. So just run around like an idiot until you can turn on all the terminals, and as long as you don't run out of ammo, you should be okay. Once you find the final terminal, it then moves on to the next level. At least it didn't make us leave back out the way we came. It says the raptors have begun to breed. Again, going back to the movie where they figured out how to breed because of their frog DNA, allowing some of the females to turn into males. Then why does it look like apocalypse? I mean, the water is flashing all crazy and these mini volcano things are shooting rocks at us. And of course, we have an egg counter of 20. But I'm thinking maybe what we've actually been doing the entire time is destroying the eggs instead of just collecting them. There are these cave entrances and we'll get to those in a little while. So we get the final 3 eggs in the keycard thing, and then inside this building there's a console that tells you X marks the spot in the nests. And there are 3 things in here that are supposed to resemble bombs, I guess. And this is where the caves come into play. In the first cave there is, of course, an egg counter, but then you place the bomb over the X, indicating the location of the nest. Same thing in the next cave, get the eggs and then drop the bomb. Then do it one more time in the third cave. Eggs, bomb, escape, and then when the timer for the bomb runs out, the level is completed, and our next set of instructions says the radio is down and we need to get to the radio on board the ship. The ship? In the movie, there was a ship. Nedry was trying to rush to it to deliver the stolen embryos, but that thing's gotta be long gone by now. Again, we have to get the eggs, but in this area, it's a pretty direct path, so you shouldn't miss the eggs. Just look out for the jumping fish and the electric traps. It's no wonder the investors wanted to get outside expert opinions. OSHA would hate this place. Then we dodge the Triceratops some more, but at least this time we don't have that kid with us. And then we are on this boat that never appeared in the movie as far as I can recall. You want to guess what we have to do on this boat? Go ahead, take a guess. I'll give you a second to think about it. So grab the last 2 eggs, and one of them turns into the key card to go inside, which I haven't really even thought about until right now. I mean, how is it that the key card is in one of the eggs? Always the last one, by the way. Did the raptor somehow eat the egg and then through some sort of weird process transfer the key card into an egg before laying it? Did the raptor lay an egg, then shove the card in the egg and seal it back up, thinking nobody would notice? I mean, I don't know. So then we get inside, and once again, it's more eggs, but to vary it up, electricity is being shot out at us, and we have to jump over the electric floor traps again. Eventually, you clear out the next room, grab the key card, head back out onto the deck, and come into this room where it says the message is out and help is on the way. This is relatively correct. In the movie, they do get the power back on and radio out for help before fleeing the island. Then it says the helicopter is on the way and we need to get to the helipad. Okay, that's correct with the movie, although I think they drove there, and it says the area is heavily infested. Oh, gee, thanks. I assumed the dinosaurs would have all gone to sleep at this point and just left me alone. Well, whatever, because this level is by far the worst when it comes to the egg hunting. Have I made a joke about Easter eggs yet? Maybe later. Make sure the key card gets grabbed in the upper corner, and by the time you get down here to go into the building, you should hopefully only need 9 more eggs. Once you get inside, you have 20 eggs just in this inside area by itself, and it is about to get confusing. So let's call this Area A. Once you get the eggs and the key card from Area A, you go through this door, which takes you to Roof A, where you grab 2 eggs and a key card before going inside to Area B, which has its own 10 egg count. From Area B, you go to Roof B, where you have dinosaurs to dispatch and a key card to grab. Be sure to grab all the eggs in this area, as they are part of the initial 20 eggs from when we started the level. Then from Roof B, you go back to Area B, then we have to trek from Area B back to Roof A to Area A, then out this other door from Area A to Roof C is I guess what we're calling it. Grab the key card and an egg, go back to Area A, and then from Area A back to Roof A and to Area B, and out a different door to Roof D where we get the 20th egg. Then we go all the way back to Room A to the original outside area, which I didn't even give a letter, and up to the building at the top where this all started. Go through the door and now we are in another area, but at least it only needs 3 eggs. Oh, when will it end? You'd think 3 eggs wouldn't be that big of an issue, but the eggs are hiding, and there are dinosaurs everywhere. This is where the spinny ammo straight out of Contra is helpful. Get out of this area, and then it says Tim and Lex are trapped by the T-Rex. I wondered what had happened to those kids, and we need to rescue them. This part is awful. I can't quite figure out how to get the kids out of the way, and the T-Rex eats them. But once you shoot the T-Rex enough, it backs off. Then you jump on the helipad. The game calls you brilliant, and then you can actually walk around the credits. This is super cool. Then walk to the exit where you can enter your name or whatever for the high score, and that's it. We beat the game. After the smash success of Jurassic Park the movie, we saw the sequel to the Jurassic Park novel in 1995 called The Lost World. In 1997, the movie The Lost World Jurassic Park was released, and it was loosely based on the novel The Lost World. Also in 1997, the novels of Jurassic Park and The Lost World were republished together under the title Jurassic World. Then Jurassic Park 3 hit theaters in 2001. It wasn't until 14 years later in 2015 that the franchise saw staggering success again with the release of Jurassic World, which is different from the 1997 combo novel of the same name. Did you follow that? The box office gross for Jurassic World beat that of Jurassic Park. However, 22 years between the two films is a long time when you consider inflation, population, and the nostalgia factor, so who knows which of the films was really the more successful. But what we can say is it all started with this 1990 novel by one of the greatest yet underappreciated authors of our time. Thank you, Dr. Crichton.
It's me, the man with the badge in the flesh, Tony from Busby Gaming here, and I couldn't help but notice that the Nindevil has the first player guy stuck in the NAS void. Let me tell you something about over there. It hurts over there. It's lonely over there. It's war over there. However, since I'm the coolest guy, the Nindevil, and the first player guy I know, I think it's only appropriate the next game we play is Cool World for the NES. Oh, and just remember, this place exists with or without you. You believe me, right?
Alright, we got Cool World for the NES, so why don't you come on and play with me? In the selection screen, you can use the select button to choose one of 4 different levels, but let's just do the first one, which is called Cool World Streets. This lady says Harris can't stop her, and then this tornado delivers a guy. I guess it's supposed to be Harris? Anyway, we can jump and we are moving to the right. There's lots of enemies that are walking toward us or just shooting at us. I don't really have an attack, or at least I can't figure out how to attack, yet. There's this club, but the bouncers block the door when I get near. A couple of jerks is what they are. Let's keep going to the right. Then all the buildings drop out, and the screen just stops scrolling. I mean, what am I supposed to be doing? This might be one of those where do I go type of games. Maybe we should check out the movie first. Cool World is a movie from 1992 starring Brad Pitt as Frank Harris, Kim Basinger as Holly Wood, and this guy Gabriel Byrne, you've seen him, but you just didn't know his name, and he plays Jack Deebs. The Cool World is this dark dystopian semi-animated dimension or universe or whatever where the aesthetic is very dark and creepy but also kinda cool. The movie does that late 80s, early 90s blending of live action and animation, not too dissimilar to something like Roger Rabbit. In the 1940s Las Vegas, Harris gets transported into the Cool World after a motorcycle accident. 50 years later in the 1990s Las Vegas, cartoonist Jack Deebs has been drawing and illustrating the Cool World and characters within it coincidentally. So Deebs didn't create Cool World, it existed without him already. Holly Wood, note the spelling and pronunciation, is the voluptuous girl everyone in Cool World wants. Holly's misguided ambitions are to get out of Cool World and get into the real world. Within the Cool World universe, Harris, who is still a real-life human by the way, has become a police detective and as such tasks himself with keeping Holly Wood in line. Since Harris won't help Holly get to the real world, she instead lures Deebs into the Cool World to help her. This arrangement is further complicated by the fact that Deebs thinks he's created the Cool World. With this in mind, perhaps the game will make sense? Maybe? Probably not. So let's try this again. The girl is supposed to be Holly Wood. I think it's pretty obvious this version of Harris doesn't look anything like Brad Pitt. Or maybe it does if Brad Pitt had a love child with Colonel Sanders. It's more like Sylvester Stallone or Tony Robbins wearing white. I know I overlooked it earlier, but there's that box at the bottom of the screen that says pen. Well, one of the first things we should be doing in any level is trying to get the pen. The pen allows you to suck up enemies, but you actually don't need it to technically play or beat the game. This idea comes from the movie, and I think that's kind of cool, because in the movie there's an ink pen, and if you use an ink pen from the real world in the cool world, it can cause mischief. Holly will actually use it to get rid of one of the doodles. This is after she has become annoyed. Oh yeah, terminology. A Noid is supposed to be a human, but not the Noid from Yo Noid and Dominoes. And a doodle is supposed to be a cartoon being. I'd say person, but some of these doodles look nothing like people. In the game, the pen is cool, but sometimes when you suck up an enemy, a new one immediately appears. That's not cool. Also, the pen can get full, but you can empty it at certain points along the way. Another thing we should be doing is getting bombs. I found out the hard way that if you don't get enough bombs, you can't beat the boss. So, trust me. I get zapped trying to jump over to get this bomb over here. It wasn't really clear that the sign can electrocute you, but that's okay, live and let learn. A little further ahead, there's a bonus room which has several bombs. That's going to be a help. Exit and we are back outside, and below us are those guys who kept blocking us from before. I believe this is supposed to be Slash's club from the movie, but the bouncer guys aren't really exactly the same. This is where the bombs come into play, but first let's check out the eraser just so you can see what it does. You throw it at a guy and he turns into a candy cane, which in turn gives you health. But if you use a bomb on this trash can, the lid pops off and the smell is so bad that the guys get out of the way. Now that we can go inside, well, the place is empty. All the patrons probably left because the barkeep is throwing bottles. No, the barkeep is not Slash. So in this room, you have to jump from the platform on the right to the platform on the left that looks like a snake. The blue wall stuff electrocutes you. This part is pretty aggravating because the jump and direction controls aren't perfect. I'm not worried so much about the bottles being thrown, and I'm willing to sacrifice some damage to get through, but this room really kinda sucks. After a few dozen attempts, I make the jump and go into this sewer system, and the place is infested with green gator guys. You know, I thought this level was called Cool World Streets, not Cool World Sewer. The purple sewage stuff harms you, so try to stay out of there. Your goal here is to get bombs before you take on the boss. Undoubtedly, you'll fill up your pen, so to empty it you have to drain it into an empty ink container. Also, we have a section where you have to jump from barrel to barrel. You know, I preferred the barrel punching from Mighty Final Fight. But these barrel and sewer sections with the gators are unforgiving. I found myself using the erasers to turn the enemies into candy canes just to get my life back. After backtracking and going the other way, you should hopefully have more than 10 bombs, and you're gonna need them. There's even a spot where you have to bomb the wall to get through. Now, would you have guessed that if you were playing this? The room leading up to the boss gets ridiculous with the barrels and drips of sewage waste. I mean, this place is just absolutely disgusting. The boss is this blue-gray, babyish looking thing. I'm pretty sure it's this guy Slash from the movie. And he throws out dice? Actually, there's a scene in the movie where he uses dice, so cool. He's not too tough, just dodge his projectile and dodge him and then throw bombs at him. And this is why you needed a lot of those bombs. It takes 10 bombs to kill him. But once he's down, you get this piece of paper or map or something, and then a tornado takes you away. Holly taunts you for a bit, and then it's time to select another stage. Again, we can do them in any order we want, but let's do the border road next, where Holly says the exact same thing to you as before. The next stage puts you on a skateboard and automatically scrolls. You do have a decent amount of maneuverability. You'll notice the bombs are now replaced with nickels, and we'll get to that, but please note it's instant death if you hit a barrier or go off of a ledge. There are these ramps that propel you ahead, and sometimes the road drops out, leaving a narrow segment in which to traverse. First time going through this level, you'll die a few times, but with each attempt, you're gonna get a little bit further. Sometimes these green skater girls, or whatever they are, will get in your way. The main thing you'll want are these nickels scattered throughout the level. You'll need 10 of them to defeat the boss. I think this level is probably my favorite in the entire game, but that really isn't saying much. The boss is this guy Sparks, and he's definitely from the movie. He has wooden nickels that are alive or something. The point is, since he's from the movie, I think that's pretty cool. I made it to him with exactly 10 nickels, which means there's no room for error. But since he's in our way, it's time to slap him around and make him pee like a puppy. Take him out, get the paper, back to the tornado, and Holly says the exact same thing as last time. She's such a waste of ink. Next up, we go to Sweet Town Place. The enemies here cause much more damage than those we've seen so far. The first thing I want to point out is I don't recall any location from the movie that looks like this. I mean, I also don't recall any sewers or highways missing chunks of road from the movie, but at least the dark tone of those levels was in sync with that of the movie. We start off having to climb up this telephone pole and cross over on the wires, but watch out, you can get zapped. Make it over far enough and you can grab the pen. Then we move to the right where police officer guys, they're called poppers by the way, and they are from the movie, are constantly on you and they damage you easily. It's worth it to use your erasers just to get the health from the candy canes now. But your goal really should be to get 10 cakes. Yep, just like the bombs and the nickels, you gotta get 10. But good luck with everything and everyone coming at you. Further ahead, you can walk across power lines again and go through a window to a bonus area with 4 cakes. You should definitely do this. Once you get your 10 cakes, get to the end of the level and fight Big Popper. Of the bosses so far, he's probably the easiest. I don't recall a specific popper from the movie who was bigger than all the others, but whatever. He shoots a projectile that's easy to time and dodge, and the cakes you throw go in a straight line, so you don't have to worry about the arc of your throw like with the bombs and the nickels. Anyway, put him into a diabetic coma with all the cakes, grab the next piece of the map, and we are off to the sweet countryside. For the game developers, this is the part of the game where the hallucinogens finally kicked in. It's bright and cheerful, but don't be fooled. The candy canes in the background won't help you, and these rabbits are having one heck of a hoppin' and happen trying to get on you. Just jump over them and get the real candy canes when you can. Hopefully you also grab the pen. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, we are getting carrots this time. Are we gonna have to fight Bugs Bunny? If that's the case, somebody should probably hack this level and replace Harris with the angry video game nerd. Later, rabbits will throw explosive carrots at us, and these purple candy cane things bounce bicephalously. Actually, that's not a real word, but I like it from the title of that one Aphex Twin song, so go listen to that with headphones and see if your brain doesn't get warped. Then again, your brain is probably already warped from this level. Now the rabbit holes are throwing nuclear dice at us, but if you lay flat on this one spot, you go into a bonus area with 2 carrots, so catch your breath and then move along because the screen will end, and when you go into this rabbit hole, you enter the real challenge of stage 4, the aggravating rabbit hole. This thing has rooms on both sides that will have carrots, but they are just awful, and the last room will have the boss. You can skip ahead if you want, but at the very bottom, it's just death. The first room isn't too terrible. These boulders fall from the top and then several more come at you from the side. There are these pits with more of the boulder things shooting up. I can't figure out the timing, so I just have to take damage on every one, but at the end of this room there are 3 carrots. Unfortunately, you have to backtrack your way, which is kinda awful. In the second room, you jump between platforms, then jump from platform to platform while some of the platforms fall out from under you. If you fall through, you don't die, but it puts you back at the beginning of the room. I guess it's better than having to lose your life. Once you make it to the end, there are 3 carrots. Now would be a good time to jump down, and luckily it takes you back to the beginning of the room instead of forcing you to backtrack. Next, we get to room 3, and room 3 isn't too bad at first. There are some green worms which can hurt you, and these evil mushroom things are kind of after us. We should probably put some Incubus music on in this part, because there is a fungus among us. Ahead is a door opening. Walk into it, and die. Awesome. If you go through the third door, there are some bonus items, including some carrots. I have 15 carrots, which is the amount we supposedly need for the boss. I could probably just not finish this room and find more carrots on the way to the boss, but I don't want to risk it, and I don't want to have to reset the game, so let's just finish this room, get the carrots, and then backtrack. Room 4 is pretty awful, but at least we can assume we won't have to backtrack since the boss is probably at the end of the room. So we have to make some jumps and then make some blocks appear. It seems like you can't avoid some of these falling rocks, and then later we have a repeat of the falling platform guessing game. So just get lucky and remember which ones to avoid. After hopping over a bunch of bunnies, we make it to the boss, who is a blue bunny. Is that some kind of ice cream or something? Well, its name is Evil Bunny, and it launches carrots at us. But where is he in the movie? Well, the only guy I remember was this no-name goon. If this is definitely the character they are trying to portray, it's a bit of a stretch. So I find it kind of weird that we are launching carrots at him to hurt him. Wouldn't that just be giving him more ammo to use against us? I don't know. Hit him enough times and he does this weird shake thing. Reminds me of when the trolls would talk from episode 19. Also, if you stand in the right spot, you can spam chuck the carrots without getting hurt too much. So we take him out, get a piece of the map before the tornado takes us away, And naturally, Hollywood says the same thing as always. The final stage is the Ocean Plaza Hotel. After getting dropped off by Torn Uber, we quickly discover the stage does not scroll left or right. It looks like it goes up, but getting up there isn't working. Maybe we have to bounce off a car? Yeah, that works. So we gotta ascend this thing. Now in the movie, it was the Union Plaza Hotel, which is a real place in Las Vegas. By this point in the movie, Holly and company are no longer in Cool World. So instead, the game renames this location to the Ocean Plaza Hotel, which is amazing since there aren't any oceans near Vegas to my limited knowledge. Also, the game didn't mention that we were out of the Cool World, so I guess in the game it's as if we still haven't even left Cool World yet, and there are definitely some crazy, weird, tall buildings in Cool World. Anyway, I like the change-up, but I am not looking forward to falling down, or whatever weird mastery of the jump controls we are going to need to assume. Additionally, it looks like we are going to need some specific number of balloons for the boss, who I'm guessing is probably Holly. Along the way, enemies are throwing stuff at us. You can sometimes dodge it, and other times it feels like you can't possibly dodge, but there are candy canes along the way, and I can always use erasers if I need to. There's also a bonus room behind a random window, and then further ahead we get to dodge planes and do irritating platform jumping with these mediocre jump controls. Further along, you reach a penthouse level, and the windows push you off. Akbar would agree about these being a trap, so just jump over. Then you get attacked by lightning bolts from every which way. This green face door on the left is a bonus room, thank you very much. And then outside, Holly calls us a wimp. Whoa, 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 whoa. That really hurts my feelings. Just gotta keep climbing. There's this area where the electricity is being shot out in 8 directions, so you just gotta dodge. But then you get to this next part where the sign electrocutes you. Just be patient, but don't be too patient or you might think you're safe. Once you get past the sign, you get to Holly. I have over 20 balloons, so hopefully that's enough. You basically just gotta shoot the balloons up at her. What a weird way to damage the final boss. No fireballs or special magic attacks, balloons. That's all you need. Whoa, then she does this tornado lightning thing and it actually can damage you pretty bad. If you think about it, that's kind of terrifying. Could you imagine a tornado that just shoots lightnings in all directions? So keep hitting her, and she stops jumping to practice her calisthenics in midair or something. And then there's more tornado power, then more balloons, and then she's done. After that, Harris moves this thing into place. I'm actually pausing the game feed here because it flashes a lot, but it says that we've stabilized the 2 universes. Alright, cool. Thanks for explaining any story stuff at all the entire game. Now in the movie, Holly does remove this spike thing from the top of the hotel, but Harris is not the one who puts it back. To see how everything plays out, you're going to want to watch the movie. Then she says, "It's game over for you, sucker," which makes no sense because we just beat the game. I looked into it, and that is the normal game over screen, but when you beat the game, it shows that screen for some reason, and there's no other ending as far as I can tell. Perhaps it's an issue with the programming. So let's reflect on the game a bit. The visual style is actually decent considering what the developers had to work with, especially the first part of that 4th stage. The game is definitely a challenge without being impossible, and you can usually get health pretty easily with the exception of the first stage. I like the variety between the 5 stages and the 5 bosses, and I like that we could do the stages in any order. Unfortunately, the jumping, jump timing, and projectile controls are not great or even good. At best, they would be described as mediocre. Same with the music. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It didn't offend my ears, and I won't be trying to play the OST for this game anytime soon. Story? Well, the game had no story. If I'm being generous, I could say the element of doing the first 4 stages in any order you want kind of eliminates the ability to do much of a story. And one thing I did not mention is that if you enter A, B, B, A, left, right, right, left on the title screen, you go straight to the final level. As far as a recommendation, I'm mixed on whether to recommend this game or not. It's certainly not a game I intend to play again, but there are worse games for the NES. Trust me. Since it's a movie, we should do some housekeeping, particularly since we also just looked at Jurassic Park. On our movie tab list, we have 1 NES game each for Stallone, Ford, Schwarzenegger, Myers, Reeves, and now we need to add 1 game for Sam Neill and 1 game for Brad Pitt. I'm too lazy to rank these corresponding games right now. They each had issues in their own way. As far as the movie recommendations go, it should have been clear that Jurassic Park is a must-see, probably more than any of the other movies with NES games we've looked at so far. But what about Cool World the movie? Well, let's just say I'd recommend the movie long before I'd recommend the game. The live action and animation thing is going to be hit or miss for some people. It doesn't feel right to compare Cool World to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I mean, Cool World went for this darker tone, but it just didn't feel natural. Maybe Cool World was trying to be scarier, but there's nothing in Cool World scarier than Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit. Brad Pitt did a pretty decent job. Some would say his acting wasn't very good in this movie, but just like Keanu in Dracula, he was in the early part of his career and he would grow into a much better actor. And that's not to say his acting in Cool World is bad. Good old BP just grew into a better actor with more time. This is pre-Fight Club Brad Pitt, just to give you some comparison. Also, have you seen the movie Snatch? Oh man, that is a great movie. I would have to say probably the highlight of the movie is the music. I mean, the opening song is performed by the Thompson Twins. The ending credits song, I think, is written by David Bowie. And hey, even Frank Sinatra appears as himself and sings a song with Hollywood. So if you've ever got an afternoon on a weekend with like 90 to 100 minutes to kill, just watch this movie one time, just to say that you have. Anyway, that's enough. I'm rambling. See you all next time. You guys ready for the next game? I know I am. The next game is...
Hey, Gimmick Man here, and man, I'm excited for this next game.
Oh, hey, Gimmick Man. What are you doing here? You gonna help me with the next game?
Well, I am, as a matter of fact. You see, I am Gimmick Man, and the next game is Mr. Gimmick for the NES.
That only makes too much sense, but how exactly are you here with me? Isn't this entire season supposed to be an NES cartridge you found?
Let's go ahead and start the game.
You didn't answer my question. How is it that you're also in this card?
Like I said, let's go ahead and start the game.
The story is a young girl is given this small green toy thing for her birthday, but later all of her other toys become jealous and kidnap her and take her away before the green toy blob thing, whose name is Yumitaro, jumps through a dimensional shift in her bedroom.
Presumably, to go after her. I guess.
So here's the green Yumitaro guy. He jumps with A, and when you hold B, it charges up this star thing, which can hurt enemies.
And in certain spots, you can jump on the star to scale to an out-of-reach spot.
The colors and level design seem really cool, and the song is catchy. I don't trust this little platform thing, and it's a good thing I jumped, or it would have been spikes for me.
You'll notice you can hold 3 items in the bottom right corner. If you select one, you can charge your star. It'll turn into that item, and you can use it as you see fit.
The stage boss is a giant blob guy, not unlike the ones we've seen throughout the level.
As long as you have the health to take the first hit, all you gotta do is hit him with 3 stars, and then it's back to the overhead map.
The next world does not feel as slippery and slidey as the first world. Here's a slow-moving boat thing that is reminding me of the Trolls game from episode 19.
And, of course, the ship has to drop cannonballs on us.
How many of them are there?
Come on. In these enclosed spaces, you can really utilize the power of the star to knock out multiple enemies.
Are we being attacked by Flubber? Get away from me, you green gooey jerk!
Sometimes, if you do some exploration off the beaten path, you can find hidden areas with bonus items that give you points, and therefore, free lives.
The pirate boss is Orange Flubber. He's pretty aggressive with his sword, and he's desperate to chop up our green guy, but with the star attacks, he gets knocked off, and then we are taken back to that overhead screen.
Man, I really like this music. A forest stage. This is what I would have expected for a first level.
These first enemies take 2 hits, which might perhaps be indicative of increasing difficulty.
Whoa, dodge the rocks. At this part, if you use a bomb, you can blast this guy out of the way and enter a bonus area with an item worth more points to give you more bonus lives.
I am all about that.
These log platforms drop, so be sure to jump quick.
Luckily for us, these jump controls are smooth and responsive, including the in-air movement and momentum.
Then there's this guy who blocks the path.
I shoot my star power at him, but he's very good at blocking it. And in between blocks, he's throwing cherries at me. Eventually the star gets him, and when we drop down, the environment changes pretty drastically.
And are those flying brains?
The third boss here is a crab dude. What's irritating about this boss stage is you're on a slope, so you're constantly pressing left to keep from sliding off.
As the crab guy comes up the slope, you have to time your star attack to hit him.
Do it 3 times, and it's back to the overhead screen.
Next is this tropical-ish area where a pink dinosaur tries to kill us, and then we ride him.
Thanks for the ride, champ.
Further ahead, these guys shoot arrows pretty quick.
With careful timing, you can dodge them, but it's almost easier to just kind of blast through them.
We also get to dodge fire shots while spear guys are after us.
Hey, I bet I know where they went to school. Spear throwing university, just like an Asterix. The boss guy jumps around and flings his boomer axe at us.
Is that a new axe body scent? Boomer axe?
Hit him 3 times and I guess he wasn't the boss. Just a mini-boss.
The real boss is further ahead. Oh, it looks like he's hatching.
Seriously? I gotta fight a baby? I can't figure out how to successfully attack it.
It looks like if you charge him, he backs up. And when he jumps, you can get him.
So do that a couple times and then he starts going crazy. Sorry, baby.
That felt unnecessary, but we are moving.
What's with these frog guys in the next stage?
And look at the little welder guys.
We are taking their card, but the track isn't complete. We should have let them finish their little project.
Foreman Steve is pretty upset, so he's launching rockets at us.
Sorry, Foreman Steve.
And then we're being chased by District Manager Robert.
Is he shooting at us because Steve was one day from retirement?
Anyone need some bubbles?
I'm getting that pre-boss feeling. And here he is. Who is he supposed to be, do you think?
I'm thinking it's Regional Manager Teddy.
Why is he in that thing up there?
Oh, he's actually not there. He's appearing through a live virtual conference call.
Hit him at the right angle with the stars, and his shots double up.
And then they triple up.
Somehow, we beat him.
Sweet! Oh, wait, what's happening?
What's this robot thing? Is it security?
Appears to be shooting rockets at us.
In between rockets and projectiles, we keep hitting him with the star power, and eventually that does it for him.
And then Teddy's call drops, thus ending the meeting early.
So what's the next place on the map?
I think it's corporate headquarters.
What are your thoughts on this statue-looking thing?
I guess it can't hurt you.
No, they're real. Must be front entrance greeters trying to keep us away from the company's secrets.
How do we get them exactly?
They do a jump and swing attack, and sometimes they move based on your movements, so I think if you just keep your distance and keep shooting the stars, you'll eventually get them.
Just try not to get boxed in.
Once we take them out, we move on up, and we see arrow shooting guys again. The next couple rooms are basically platforming as we work our way up the corporate ladder.
And we witness firsthand how wasteful the corporate world can be.
Then we move into this room with a wizard-looking guy. Who do you think he is?
I'm guessing he's the chief financial officer, and he's wasting money shooting bubbles at you. The bubbles don't hurt you, but they prevent you from forming stars above your head, which you need to attack the guy.
So it's a lot of dodging and jumping until you can get the shot off and hit the guy. Once he's beat, we move up to the next room.
Or office?
And who is this guy?
I think this would be the chief operating officer, and he's pretty upset.
Why? Because we beat up his colleague?
I would assume it's because there's no money anymore since we took out the CFO who was wasting it on bubbles.
This guy doesn't shoot bubbles. Instead, he drops stalactites or pointy ice things. He also shoots some coloriness around.
The only real challenge in this room is the ice floor. Just get your shots in and move on.
Next, we should probably use the potion, because I can guess there's another guy up ahead.
And here he is, the CEO. He's basically the other two guys combined.
Same strategy. Dodge, jump, shoot the star. That's it. And I think he dove into the star for the final hit.
And that is the end of the game.
But I thought we were trying to rescue a girl. I mean, he's even thinking about her.
Back in the NES days, the endings didn't always make sense. Sometimes the ending wasn't anything at all, other than some text. But congrats on beating another game.
Well, thanks, Gimmick Man. In summary, I would say this is a great game. The controls are pretty smooth, the levels are unique, the bosses are the perfect amount of difficulty, and the music is solid. Shooting the star and using the items is relatively straightforward. So yeah, this is one of the better games to appear on this show so far.
Well, listen for a second, first player guy. I know that might not have been the ending you were looking for, but I have a gift for you.
Thanks, but I don't really need anything. I just wish this game felt more complete.
Trust me, you want this.
What did you just do?
I just gave you the ability to leave and enter the NES Void whenever you want. So if you want to be in the real world, just leave the NES Void. Now you can do it.
Actually, I do like that idea. I've been having a lot of fun playing these games, and that'll make it easier. Maybe I'll go to the real world next time.
Oh, but there's more.
More?
Yes, you now also have the ability to make Trotsky exist in real time again. He doesn't have to be still images anymore.
I actually don't care about that.
Anyway, thanks for playing and beating Mr. Gimmick. I really enjoyed it, and I feel that it's a highly underrated NES game. And while it might be a bit expensive, it's absolutely worth a playthrough. Take care, everybody, and see you next time.
I know I already ended the episode, but something felt off. I decided to play through the game again, and it turns out if you get the secret item in each stage, the real final stage opens up. Going along with the previous themes, I guess this would be called Investor Island. The music is peaceful on Investor Island, and this guy has no mouth, so he must be a silent investor. But everything seems so calm and peaceful. I mean, we are just flying through. We reach what might be a final boss, and he's decked out in black. He looks misplaced for this game, as if he should be in Castlevania. And who is he? The president of the board of directors? His attack move is a tornado shot. If you jump it and shoot the star at the right moment, you can get your attack in that way. Hit him 3 times and he doffs his cape and is instead dressed like a really bad Fantastic Four cosplayer. It's so weird to see a regularish biped after all the enemies and bosses we encountered along the way. I mean, obviously we were supposed to be saving a girl, but still. So he waves his baton at you, and I'm trying to figure out the timing to hit him with the star. For me, it works out that if you kinda just jump and shoot the star randomly, you can usually get in on him, but he will send the tornado shots and multi-fireball attack at you. Once you get that 5th shot in, he sparkles and then explodes while pink confetti rains down. I mean, I hope it's confetti. Satisfied that he's seen enough flesh confetti fall from the sky, Yumitaro walks off screen. A blue orb thing gets a crack. Uh-oh. We find the girl locked in a closet. She hugs him. The blue orb cracks some more. Then we are getting out of here. Oh no, it broke! Corporate restructuring, we need to inverse leverage our holdings, jump into this 401k, and now we are home, and I'm your only toy. Shout out to Masashi Kageyama. The music has been great.
Dear Mr. Nindevil, I have done as you asked, but there's a slight catch. The good news is the first player guy appears excited to play the NES games and conquer the NES library as part of your plans. The trick of letting him go in and out of the NES Forward appears to have worked. Unfortunately for you, he figured out the true ending of Mr. Gimmick on NES. Your plan to tell him he hadn't truly beaten all the games and hold him captive has backfired. Regardless, we had a deal, and I expect you to keep your end of the deal. Gamer got a game. Gimmick Man. Out.
Trotsky's a meat Marco, first player guy. You made it out of the NES for me.
I sure did. And did you notice anything different about yourself?
My hat got a haircut.
You're no longer confined to being still images.
I actually don't care about that.
I thought we'd celebrate by knocking out the next game together.
I also don't care about that.
Together, we can knock out the next game, shall we?
It's magical.
So let's go to Rodland. The sails curve. My favorite type of sail when that curves. Yeah.
Curvy sails, eh?
At the Rodland, featuring Rit and Tam. I'm not sure which one's going to be which. I think I'm going to be Rit, you're going to be Tam.
Tam. Oh my god. Whoa. Intense.
Oh, she's our mom. So our mom's been kidnapped.
Well, poor mom. I'm tracing to the top of my boots tower.
It's just the tower of Pisa. Oh, hello. Hello, sibling.
I'm Tam.
I'm Rit.
I got a
You'd
star.
probably would like to be Rit of me.
Star power.
What did you just do?
I threw a star at a person.
It looked like you body slammed them 3 times.
I
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, okay.
Boom.
Oh my
I
goodness.
survived the bomb.
Why,
Wait,
we just beat the crap out of them?
is that? That was a stage.
That was a full stage.
That was a stage. Okay.
We just beat the crap out of these people.
If I press up and B, I can make a ladder appear.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just threw him down, mother!
Whoa! And I got this guy, and like it's Arkanoid style shooting balls all over the place. What do the flowers do?
I think they give us more points.
Oh, do we care about points?
Using the ground to bludgeon our enemies is amazing.
So I think the Nindevil's point system is he points at other people and blames them for his problem and says, "Hey, you, make me a web series." Smash, smash, smash.
Bees!
I like bees. So how does this help us save our mom?
You know what? If this is the path that takes us, that's what it requires. That's what shall be, shall be. Que sera. Oh my god!
Mom, we're trying to save you, but in order to do so, we have to body slam several monster guys. Ooh, I bet if I stand on this balloon,
Okay.
it works.
Fine.
I don't
Be
wanna get
smug
hurt.
with your correctness.
I'm in that
Ah!
zone.
Oh,
I just got sucked
there was a
into
door. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is
Gatorland? I definitely got hurt.
Yeah,
look
just
at
go
that.
for it. You just kind of go for it. You kind of brute force this one.
My favorite type of brute.
Force?
Yes.
The gator retreated. Gators don't retreat, they eat their prey. They're prehistoric monsters.
Do you know what you call it when a gator needs help?
I don't know.
Gator aid.
Oh.
Hey, we got a bonus though. I'm happy, the music is so happy that I'm happy. I don't need antidepressants when I play the music so happy every day. Alright, so maybe it's too early to say this, and I'll probably get smacked in the face later, but this game's kind of easy. I mean, look, I'm not saying I ever want my mom or someone's mom to get kidnapped.
I've chosen not to help you now.
But if there was ever a condition in which your mom has to get kidnapped, I would hope it would be the conditions of this game. Because it's pretty easy. Come here, person.
Tam is no longer helping because you said this game was easy. Tam is gonna just have fun with the flowers. Do we run out of ladders ever?
This would be a great question for someone who works at Home Depot.
We don't seem to take fall
Hey!
damage.
We're happy siblings.
Pick a door.
Any door.
Wrong
they
door.
They take you all over. Whoa, that's kind of cool. Smash, smash, smash.
I'm over here in the corner. That's right. Rit said it was easy. Tam said fine.
Rit.
You enjoy that.
You can't get rid of me.
We have the
Tam.
Star Tropics like Yo-Yo. Tam's not helping.
See, why wouldn't the Nindevil want to play this himself? It's not a bad game. It's an easy game.
Lazy. He also enjoys Cheez-Its to the point that you think, oh, you couldn't eat that many Cheez-Its. Can we add more coins?
I don't have any coins.
Yeah, neither do I.
Dead people need no coins. Go in the door.
I do tell a lot of tales, though.
Whoa.
Fishy.
And suddenly it was a different game.
Oh, God. What?
Whoa.
What?
Who's that guy?
It's a whale of a tale of a castaway.
Can we hurt the whale? Is it just for decoration?
Ah, Jonah! Help!
Maybe it's part of the background?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt you, but it certainly hurt me.
Oh! One of us damaged it.
Ah, it hurt me again.
I bet you that whale could send you a letter through whale mail. Oh, it's its eye. You gotta shoot it in the eye. Shoot it in the eye.
The whale that built a tail sea, I'll tell you about that too.
Wait, press start.
I'm out.
Oh, so we do have a limited number of credits.
We do.
Well, I guess it's just Rit for now. Had to get rid of you, Trotsky.
Rit all the way, yo! Eat the fishies. Ah!
Since Trotsky ran out of lives, I'm gonna have to beat this thing myself. Good riddance. See what I did there? After beating the whale guy, our background changes because we are actually in that tower pictured earlier in the game. The enemies are a little different looking, but the gameplay hasn't really changed. Grab them and smash them, use the power item if you want, and then repeat. After a few more stages, we ditch the game format and are now platforming and can actually jump. This feels super odd after having spent the last 24 stages smashing guys. My best guess is we have a boss fight further down, so I'll actually give some props to the game developers for switching it up. Sure enough, it's an elephant, and a mama elephant at that. Look at all the baby pachyderms. But this fight is pretty easy, just get in range and spam the attack while dodging the baby elephants, which can fly. Once the elephant is defeated, it turns into gold. I guess we have the Midas touch. Scene 31 is by far my least favorite stage. There are a bunch of bees flying around, and you have to wait until they come down in order to get them. You could go up the ladders to try to get them, but they'll sometimes come up from beneath. Awful stage. And then we go through the door to the final stage, which has us do some platforming. Be sure to take these balloons up for the easier route. Christmas cosplayers are trampolining from beneath, and a lady tries to dump her ramen on you. Just kidding, it's a chamber pot. Gross. Then there is this skull thing that multiplies a bunch. All you need to do here is find a spot and dodge and wait for them to fall off screen. You have to do the same thing a short while later, but if you persist, you'll walk into a room which grades me on how funny I am. It's the final boss room, and he looks like Vigo had a love child with an antlion. The idea is to dodge him or whatever he drops, and when he comes down, spam him. His buddies show up. Either that or he's doing some unnecessary wardrobe changes. Eventually you hit him enough times, he goes off screen, comes back all shiny-like, and explodes into a bunch of pieces. Then our mom comes out and says, "Thank you, Rit and Tam." Now hey, wait a minute, Trotsky lost all his lives, he shouldn't be getting any of the credit here. Then it says the monster was defeated and locked away in the tower forever. I take issue with this because 1, we just saw him fall apart into several pieces, and 2, even if the monster somehow survived, why would we lock him up in this tower? This is the tower we found him in, and it's presumably his tower. We should lock him up somewhere else that isn't his. So, Rodland for the NES. It's good. Not great, just good. Worth a playthrough if you have a friend who can manage not to run out of lives too quickly. And with that, we have successfully played through 30 games on this show so far. And I have to say, I'm having fun. I'll see you all next time. That's it. I'll see you next time. Bye.
We are interrupting the end of your YouTube program for a special message from the one and only Nindeviled.
Hey everybody, you were watching Rodland, it's an old Nintendo game, there's only like 3 rods I really like, and Rodland is not in that group. First off, you have Rodney Dangerfield. I feel kind of like him sometimes. I get no respect. Next is one of my favorite rockers of all time, Rod Stewart. Hot Legs. It's a song. You can look it up on YouTube. And then finally, my favorite Rod of all time is the one and only Hot Rod. I have an outfit like that. I'm currently working out to maybe fit back into it. So, thanks again, everybody, for hanging out to the end of the video. I know I haven't been on a few, so you've watched an entire video and then never got to see me, so sorry about that. But Nindeviled out. Go back to watching whatever you were watching on YouTube. Maybe Nindeviled eggs, maybe a cooking video, maybe a how-to video on how to change a spark plug or something.
Alright, today we're doing no messing around, we're just gonna play the game. There's been too much weird stuff recently, so no Nindevil, no Trotsky, no guests, no Nindeviled Eggs cartridges, no coloring books, no props, no gimmicks, no Snesville. We're not even gonna do a song or a title card. You want a title card? Here, Nindeviled Eggs number 25. I got the controller, let's play the game. First you draw a circle, then you draw the eyes, add a great big circle, and presto, it's Kirby! Kirby. What even is he? Or she? Or it? By now, everyone is pretty familiar with Kirby in some way, but for a lot of us kids, our introduction to Kirby was with Super Smash Bros. For me, this is because I never owned or played the NES, Game Boy, or Super NES games for Kirby. And I never owned a Game Boy because I opted for the Game Gear. Boy, was that a mistake. But when I got my hands on Super Smash Bros., Kirby became my main player. And later, Kirby would become an author. Nah, just kidding. But again, what even is Kirby? He's like 50% Furby, 50% Flubber, 50% Fergalicious, and 50% Gak. That's 200% because he can absorb other powers and use them to his advantage. He's like a cute Shang Tsung. If Kirby absorbed you, what ability would he get?
Student loans.
Catamaran rental.
Hardcore procrastination.
Reverse mortgage calculator.
Analysis paralysis.
Fermentation.
Pasta counter.
Kirby's first appearance was Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy. Maybe we will have to make Trotsky play that one at some point. But then we got Kirby's Adventure for the NES, his only official appearance on the NES, and also the introduction of his power-absorbing move known as Inhale. Before gameplay, the game will automatically give you the basics on playing as Kirby, most notably to inhale enemies to absorb their powers. During this intro section, you're able to preview several of the cool abilities you'll be able to acquire during the game. However, this intro section does not show you all of them. I like that, as plenty of mystery is still left as to what powers are out there in the game. If you allow this intro to play long enough, you get to the backstory, and it is a true crisis. The inhabitants of Dreamland cannot dream anymore. Something about the Star Rod and King DDD. You know, I'm not very up-to-date on my Kirby lore, but when I hear King DDD, I immediately think of Carlos Mencia. Anyway, DDD broke the rod into pieces and gave the pieces to his friends. Lame, bro. Let's start the game. You get 3 save files, which is pretty nice. The first level is called Vegetable Valley.
Cooking up a recipe, cooking times for you and me.
You are then brought into an open area with a door labeled number 1, indicating the first stage. Go through the door, and we are brought into a very basic platforming stage with enemies whose powers can be absorbed. The controls are very simple: jump and absorb. Once you absorb an enemy, that button is now the attack. Before we exit the area, I grab this fire ability because, well, fire! Then through this door silhouette thing, and we are brought into the next area, but it's still the same stage. I like how the stage is broken up into these little segments. Eventually we find a Maxim tomato, which you should recognize from Smash Brothers. I wonder if Maxim from the Prodigy would approve. The final silhouette exit of the stage has stars along its border. Once we go through, you can test your reaction and timing to launch Kirby as high as possible. I like this Kirby dance. Then we are brought back to the main area for Vegetable Valley, and more of the area opens up, including the second stage. Before going on to the next stage, let's check out this other door. It's a claw-like minigame. Just drop the claw to get some extra Kirbys. You know, I really like how there's the addition of these little bonus areas on the overworld map. It kind of like Super Mario Bros. 3 in a way. In the next stage, we have more of the same. I grab a special cutter ability from one of the enemies to use on a mini-boss, however getting damaged with this ability causes you to lose it. The fight isn't as easy this way, but it's certainly not difficult. Once the mini-boss is beat, you can absorb his power, which is this crazy screen-clearing attack. The game will also give you a gentle reminder that you are low on energy when you switch areas. It's nowhere near the level of annoyance, irritation, and anxiety one would get from having low energy in something like Zelda. There's also a hidden bonus area off to the side of this one part of the stage. These first 2 stages have done an excellent job of introducing you to the game mechanics without forcing you through some irritating tutorial or just holding your hand. And the reason I haven't eaten the tomato yet is it's technically a fruit, so... In Stage 3, you can absorb a fire-launching power. I love this thing. You can fly across the screen and take out enemies, and when you go underwater, it shoots a little jet of steam, but I think this is unrelated to the fire ability, I think. In the next stage, you get a mini-boss, and you can spam him with the fire ability. He has an ice power, and I'm sure if I absorbed it, I'd be able to freeze enemies or something. A little bit later, you can absorb a guy who lets you poke out needles to injure your foes. Last in this land is the boss stage. The boss is this tree guy who appears to be alive. You might remember him from the Kirby stage in Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 64, but whoever heard of a tree being a boss? Anyway, if you still have the needle ability, you can take him out super quick. Otherwise, you'd have to suck up the fruit as it drops and shoot it at him. Then grab the Star Rod, which clears the level. And next up is Ice Cream Island. Now that's what I'm talking about. Yeah!
Cooking up a recipe, cooking times for you and me.
Since this place is technically an island, well... Kirby's an island boy in the first stage, looking really tropical, and that's okay. Things falling from the trees, just gotta dodge them. You can get the parasol, like in Super Smash Bros. And also we can find the tornado, shooting the bombs, the wall is falling down. Hop onto this star to fly away. It's now a desert place, so we can't be island boys. Using this sword power, we can fight the wheel boss guy pretty effectively. When we absorb his power, we can then roll right through the rest of the level. This wheel power is pretty sweet, which makes sense. There's a band who goes by the name Wheel, and they are very underrated as far as progressive rock with interesting time signatures go. If you like Tool, then you'll like Wheel. Be sure to also check out this weird minigame where you try to eat eggs and not bombs. In the next stage, we get a sub-boss battle with these Meta Knight guys. If you don't have an ability when you get here, just run around inhaling them. Watch out for the guy who throws forks. I guess he doesn't want a spoon. It's hilarious to see Kirby running around inhaling all the bad guys. I mean, imagine if he was attacked on the street by a gang and the police were called. When they show up, there would be just Kirby with no bad guys around. The police would be like, hey, where'd they go? The next stage starts off up in the clouds, which reminds me of one of the cloud areas from Super Mario Bros. 2. Later, we can absorb a stone power-up, which is of course brought into Super Smash Bros. I like to smash the mini-boss guy with it. It's just so fun. And when you absorb the mini-boss's power-up, it's a mic ability that eliminates some of the enemies on the screen.
Yeah, I know I said no nonsense, but I like this shirt. And what would Kirby be propagandizing such that it would clear enemies from the screen?
After clearing the stage, we check out these two bonus areas. One of them gives you a choice between two power-ups, and the other one allows you to battle a guy one-on-one. I employ my Dr. Evil abilities and laser him. Later we get to use the high jump ability, which allows you to jump high. But it's still cool. I mean, I've completely lost track of how many different abilities we have seen so far. Next, we battle the Ice Cream Valley boss, who moonlights as a painting with a twist host. I choose to battle with the laser, which is not particularly effective, so just dodge whatever projectiles the boss draws. You know, if he's got this ability, why wouldn't the boss draw a dinosaur or a bazooka or something like massively destructive? Once the boss is beat, we grab the Star Rod piece, 3 Kirby's Dance, which hasn't been explained, and we are off to butter building.
Well, you know what that means.
Well, in the first level, we find a building that is very yellow. Is it made out of butter? Perhaps Kirby should be careful spitting fire around a meltable building. And I think it's cool how within this first level, there's a path that allows you to open up more of the main world.
You know what else is kind of cool? A waterproof sewing machine, I think. I don't feel very good.
The next level has some cool new stuff. First off, the stage begins to ascend vertically, which I always think is a great way to mix things up. Next, there's this part where it looks like Kirby is running around the building, or maybe he's turning the building as he runs. Either way, it's impressive for NES graphics and hardware. Later, if you get the wheel power-up, you can blast through this one section. I love when designers do stuff like this on purpose to reward exploration and experimentation. It's just so much fun. And finally, there's a mini-boss who can body slam you, but if you take his power, you can body slam enemies. This would later become a very common move in Super Smash Bros. Then there's a bonus challenge room that's kinda different. It has a hat symbol. The idea is to draw before the other guy does. Further ahead, there's a mini-boss who uses a hammer. Defeat him, and naturally, you can absorb the hammer power and use it on enemies. This hammer would make its way into Super Smash Bros. There's also another hidden green switch, which will open up an area with a bonus game. Once you get out of the level, you'll discover it's another one of the egg-eating challenges, which ends with Kirby vomiting out more baby chicks.
I'm not trying any of that.
So it's time to take on the boss, which is a tag team of a moon and sun. I foolishly enter the fight without a power-up, however the enemies will shoot stars, and you have the choice to shoot them back, or, better yet, absorb one and get the cutter ability. This boss fight is my favorite so far. You have to contend with the element on the ground as well as the one in the air, since it will shoot at you, and also move toward you when Kirby is in the air. Once they are both beat, they combine into an explosion which probably started the universe we know and love. And then, we are off to Grape Garden.
Okay, this one is easy. What do we got in here? We got some milk, orange, all purple, yes!
Within the first stage of Grape Garden, you can turn Kirby into a UFO. Somebody should let all the conspiracy theorists know. The UFO allows you to shoot a short-range attack, or you can shoot a laser. There's also another plunger thing to open an area of the main screen, with a bonus stage. A short while later, we have a fight with these two bomb tosser guys. You know, it appears they really don't have arms, so would that make them unarmed? I don't know. Anyway, I spark them up and take them out in order to finish the level. After that, you can use a fire ability to light a fuse and... wait for it. Kirby gets launched by a cannon into the sky. Awesome. Follow it up with an airship section which gives me those Super Mario Bros. 3 vibes. And hey, there's also a hidden plunger switch thingy.
I love me some grape juice, and raisins or just dried grapes. Oh.
My favorite part of Grape Garden is this part where you absorb the wheel ability. Then, using that ability, you hairpin left and right. After you hit the bomb, Kirby is basically racing the detonation all the way to the bottom to get past where a wall will appear. This all precedes a mini-boss whose ability upon absorption is called Throw. And what does Throw do? It throws an enemy off stage like a discarded piece of garbage. I especially enjoy using this ability to throw these Meta Knight guys at each other. And what about this dark area, where if you absorb this one enemy, you can use the ability to bring light into the room, which reveals a doorway that was previously hidden. Or right here, where if you use the rock ability on the wooden stump platform thingies in the correct order, a 1-up is pushed up. A 1-up is pushed up. Yeah, that's really weird to say, but I am genuinely loving this.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. This game is fantastic. It is a shame that Kirby's Adventure for the NES is not as fondly remembered as other NES classics. The main issue, of course, being that by the time this game came out, most people had moved on to the Super Nintendo. But the Super Nintendo has plenty of games that lack the subtlety and variety of Kirby's Adventure. I mean, every playthrough is going to be kind of different. There's so much that's hidden. The levels are unique. The bosses are all pretty different. I mean, just check out this boss for Grape Garden.
Using the high jump ability, you have to outrace this eyeball thing that's chasing you. Once you get high enough, the actual fight begins, where you have to fight using the high jump ability to slam into the eyeball thing, which is now shrouded in something that looks like a cloud. You know, this is pretty unique. I don't think I've ever fought a boss this way. Once the boss is defeated, we move on to Yogurt Yard.
I don't really like eating yogurt, so I'm going to skip this one, but here's a video of how to paint Kirby on your hand. Seems like a reasonable swap out.
So right off the bat in Yogurt Yard, there's a hidden door down here with a 1-up, and if you absorb the rock power, you can reach terminal velocity with all the other morons who thought it would be cool to plummet toward the Earth. I suspect somebody's milkshake is bringing all the boys to the Yogurt Yard. There's also another bonus plungery secret location exposer thingy, and then if you go behind this hidden door in the waterfall, you can make your way to a different plunger opener-upper.
I forgot, I actually do like yogurt, but the thing is, Yogurt Yard isn't really all that exciting of a world. I guess there's not terrible, there's just nothing new. Not until this part.
I happen to swallow 2 enemies who normally give power-ups, and it says mix. If you then press down, you get a randomizer. This is a pretty sweet touch, but I'm only just now discovering it. I had hoped the boss would be able to redeem the mediocrity of Yogurtland, but unfortunately, this boss is my least favorite. I chase the boss while it destroys part of the surrounding area. Without the hammer, I'm unsure how I would even be able to attack him. I give the boss credit for being unique, but this experience falls just a little short. And isn't it fitting that in this nadir of enjoyment, I somehow defeat the boss while also losing a life? Anyway, I get the Star Rod after defeating the boss on my next attempt, which then brings us into Orange Ocean. Unfortunately, Orange Ocean suffers from the same issue as Yogurt Yard. There just isn't anything new worth mentioning. I want to be clear that the level design is fantastic, and the game remains fun to play. The best way to describe it is to say the first handful of worlds adequately prepared you for these latter worlds. Once you make it this far, it's up to you to discover what power-ups you want and how much you wish to explore. There's no hand-holding here, folks. But there's not much more to say without going into a critically deep dive.
Uh-oh, I guess I better do something with that orange stuff.
Cooking up a recipe, cooking times for you and me.
Oh, I don't feel so good.
The boss battle for Orange Ocean is probably the highlight. It's the Meta Knight guy who has been harassing us throughout the entire game. Kirby has a traditional sword battle with him. When you get hit, you don't lose your sword ability like normal, which makes this boss battle kind of easy, all things considered. So just keep your distance, go in for the strike, back off, watch his jumps, and repeat. Once you take him down, we are off to Rainbow Resort.
What am I going to eat for Rainbow Resort? The only thing that comes to mind is tasting the rainbow.
Right away, we start the first level of Rainbow Resort shooting laser beams against slanted walls, which allows us to hit out-of-range targets. This is pretty neat, and I guess I was wrong. There are still some new things late in this game worth mentioning. And then we enter a tower, where each successive level is a mini-boss fight. This definitely gives me some endgame vibes, but it's super cool. The mini-bosses aren't overbearingly tough, and you get to decide whether to absorb someone's power, stick with the one you have, or go in vanilla. This gauntlet is on the easier side, since if you lose a life, you resume at the same mini-boss instead of going back to the beginning. At the top of the tower is a warp star.
What do you want me to eat? What other rainbow stuff is there?
The last stage in Rainbow Resort is in black and white, and while this is not very rainbow-like, this feels like a throwback or a nod to the Game Boy Kirby, which was the start of the franchise. But it all leads up to this, the showdown with King Carlos DDD Mencia. And I have a mind to knock him out. You know, the parasol doesn't seem to be particularly effective against him. He has a variety of attacks that he will employ, the most problematic being the inhalation and exhalation, which Kirby cannot dodge if he gets too close. He also will charge at you or do this fly around thing. The best way to get your hits in are to absorb the stars, shoot them at him, then get some distance. He makes stars when he does the ground pound move or when he swings his hammer. I couldn't discern any particular pattern of attack, but he isn't exactly tough. His difficulty is on par with what I've come to expect for this game. So keep at him, and eventually you'll land the final attack. Nice! We have beaten the game. Kirby is then moving to the right. DDD is attempting to stop him for whatever reason. Once Kirby gets to the fountain thing, he returns the Star Rod, and now everything is perfect and awesome, and nothing bad could possibly happen. Or, a glowy death orb has arisen from the fountain and DDD launches Kirby off-screen after it. So they tricked me. The game is not over yet. Kirby's Adventure is now a horizontal shoot-'em-up. Kirby is equipped with the Star Rod, and we have unlimited ammo to shoot stars at the orb thing. As to be expected, it shoots stuff at you, and you shoot stuff back. So dodge when you can, and get your hits in when you're able to do so. Once you deliver the final blow, Kirby will ride a star and crash land into the next phase of this boss fight. I don't even know how to describe this guy, nor is it clear right away how to land the attacks. I just spam the attack button when I can, and sometimes the enemy's power bar goes down. I think under his coat or cape is an area that is vulnerable to the star attack. I find this phase is actually easier than the last. Land the final attack, and he does this, whatever you want to call that. And then we see a portion of the moon explode. You know, that's going to wreak havoc on our ecosystem. Then Kirby is riding his star back, and the game explains that King DDD didn't mean any harm. People were having nightmares or something.
Oh, come on. Couldn't one of DDD's people have mentioned this before we got here?
The credits then begin to roll while showing the various boss fights Kirby endured along the way.
Wow. I am blown away by this game. It's a shame I didn't play it when I was younger. The abilities are fun and plentiful. The level design is interesting and varied. You're given choices whether you use strategy or brute force. There are bonus areas, the overworld map lets you move about, there's plenty of one-ups, the controls are solid. If there's only one complaint, it would be that the game might be a little bit too easy. But Kirby's Adventure is great, even better than Bonk's Adventure. You know, this game makes me feel good. Oh, I don't feel so good. I think I ate too much.
Dirt naps are good. Player one guy?
don't suppose you ate some napkins?
Pasta counter.
That last episode was kind of messy, so today I like to keep it normal and let's just do the game. It's going to be Lethal Weapon on the NES. Let's take a look.
Here we have the intro screen. Alright, then level 1 has 3 stages: the park, the camp, and the exhibition. We start in the park and we are playing as Riggs. He's one of the guys from the movie. He can toss a knife, but it's kinda lame. We have a gun, alright, although I prefer to just use melee. We have these military-looking guys. You know, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be from the first movie or just some generic military guys, but then we're moving right and throwing a grenade at a helicopter. There were definitely some helicopter scenes in those movies. I'm not really sure how to get over this wall, but you can break it. And then we fight a ninja guy. I guess he's the boss. You know, I guess we could shoot him, but let's just spam him with the fist. Next is the camp, and it feels a lot like the last level. There's a guy coming up out of the ground, and to get him, just do a diving kick. But when do I get to play as Murtaugh? They've got a satellite on this building here. They're probably streaming some movies that have better games based upon them.
I shouldn't say that. This one isn't too bad so far.
The boss for this stage is this guy. I mean, who is he? Is he a camp counselor? I mean, he looks too out of shape to be doing moves like this. You know, as if he would be a guy who would be saying something like, actually, and correct you on stuff.
As in, actually, this game came out before the 4th film. Therefore, it can only be based on the first 3. Or none of them at all.
Alright, let's move on to the exhibition. I mean, what even is this place? It looks like a generic indoor building. And once again, we are still Riggs. I mean, when do we get to play as Murtaugh? So just keep moving right. I mean, is that all we can do, is just move right? Can we even go left?
Oh, okay, there we go. Now we can play as Murtaugh. He moves a little bit slower, but his attack is more powerful. Yep. What are these? Broken mirrors? Did someone not like looking at themselves and broke all the mirrors? And why is this place called the Exhibition? What exactly are they exhibiting? The game's mediocrity? Sometimes the enemies are out of reach and they jump down from above. And this is the first time I've seen where you can actually throw a box to an enemy to save a hostage. So you know what would be really cool? If this game were actually 2 players. You know, 2 people actually on the screen. I don't think this game can handle more than 4 or 5 sprites at a time though.
Move over, I'm gonna play.
Yo, you? Who even are you?
I'm surprised you haven't heard of me. I got a bad reputation. Sometimes I go nuts, like right now.
Okay.
So what am I supposed to do? I guess I could just attack one?
Yo, so what? Are you crazy?
You want to see crazy? I'll show you crazy.
Yo, I'm getting too old for this.
You think you can do better? Here.
I know I can. See? You gotta hit it when the lights are off.
On or off?
On.
Hey, you said off.
Why didn't you hit it when the light was off? Huh?
Can we just move on, please?
Sure, what's up next?
Level 2 is mall, gardens, and docks.
The mall is inundated with gunmen. This does not sound like a mall I want to shop at.
What word did you just use?
What? At?
No.
Inundated?
Do these guys coming out of the ground look shirtless?
They live underground. Why do they need shirts?
So, are you trying to say that shirts are just an above ground thing?
Yes.
But what about guys in submarines? They wear shirts.
They have a little bit of dirt in all of their shoes, so they're still technically above ground.
What?
Okay, how about this boss here? Who is he?
He's either a bearded Dolph Lundgren or a more buff Patrick Swayze.
I'd like to think he's actually Gary Busey from the first Lethal Weapon, who looked very dapper, by the way.
This game is a bit too violent. Can't we just take a nice stroll through the gardens?
Oh, hey, look. More violence. What do we got behind door number 2? Bingo.
Bingo?
Yeah, bingo.
Nobody came out the doors. They're still hiding underground and in storm drains.
Can you flap your arms and make noises like a bird? In Hong Kong, you'd be dead.
So, the docks. Would these be the same docks from one of the movies? And when are we even going to talk about the films?
I would love to talk about the films, but this game has seemingly nothing to do with the films.
If that's the case, I don't know if I can see myself enjoying this game or even continuing to play it.
Don't be a doobie.
Remind me about the movies then.
The Lethal Weapon movie franchise consists of a handful of buddy cop action films starring Danny Glover as Roger Murtaugh and Mel Gibson as Martin Riggs.
Any relationship to John Riggs?
That would be cool, but I don't think so. Riggs is meant to be the wild and crazy bachelor, although technically a widower, younger cop guy living on the edge and acting on impulse. And of course he's paired up with the experienced, level-headed family man Murtaugh who just wants to make it to retirement.
Are they as poorly matched as Danny and Slater?
Well, that's the thing. In the first movie, they kind of bicker a bit at first, but end up learning to appreciate each other and become sort of family.
So you said something about Gary Busey in the first film?
Yes. The bad guys in the first film are a group of special forces-style elite mercenaries, and the main henchman, although not the primary bad guy, is played by Gary Busey. It's an overall fun film and easily can be considered a classic, but it stands in the shadow of the second film.
Is the second one the diplomatic immunity one?
That's correct. In Lethal Weapon 2, Riggs and Murtaugh are already established as buddies, so you don't have to muscle through the mopey getting-to-know-you phase the characters endured in the first film. The bad guys are these neo-Nazi-esque South African guys, and one of them is a foreign diplomat, so he gets away with whatever he wants. Throughout the film, the bad guys cause havoc and mayhem, but eventually, Murtaugh has had enough and takes the guy out.
And then goes to prison, right?
Actually, no. Things pick up with Lethal Weapon 3 a few years later, and it doesn't seem like Riggs or Murtaugh were in any legal trouble. For me, the third film kinda fell off, though. The bad guys are led by a rogue cop who manages to sell confiscated firearms through illegal firearms deals. The bad guy just doesn't have the luster and appeal of the guys from the previous film. And Murtaugh and Riggs, they get emotional over the idea of retirement, etc., etc.
But then things pick back up with the fourth one.
Completely. The bad guys are a group of immigrant smugglers with the main henchman being played by Jet Li, so you know the fighting is going to be awesome.
So now you know about the films.
I've actually already seen them all. I was just trying to get you to talk about them.
You got me quaking in my boots.
What?
Now we're cooking.
Are you just randomly quoting the movies now?
You've got a real nice family. Your wife's cooking sucks. I think your daughter likes me.
I'm not married and I don't have any kids.
I dislocated my shoulder once. Now I can do it whenever I want.
Does it hurt?
Yes, it does, but not as much as when I put it back in.
With this crowd, you better not stink.
Are you smelling what I'm smelling?
Yeah. I smell something.
What's that, a rat?
Yeah, a stinky one, too.
What are you eating?
Tuna sandwich. What's your signal?
You'll know it when it happens.
Somehow, I think I will know.
Is your insurance paid up?
Yeah? Why?
There could be a bomb in here.
Nailed them both.
You have the right to remain unconscious. Anything you say ain't gonna be much.
You're not gonna make it.
I'm gonna make it.
You're not dead until I tell you. You got that? Now breathe with me. Breathe.
Did anyone ever tell you you really are a beautiful man?
That's crossing line, man. Just give me the controller.
I don't know that line.
Give me the controller.
Hey, I'm using this.
It's just been revoked. This is my chance to do something, and do it right.
Well, why didn't you say so? I mean, this is not going to be boring.
Word.
You conceded, or are you conceited?
Fire in the hole!
Okay, give me back the controller.
What? Why?
You can't handle the truth.
That's not even lethal. What? That's not even Mel Gibson!
So now we have the last boss.
Kinda reminds me of Rambo.
But he's huge.
You know, like if Rambo absorbed Rambo.
When he was a kid, do you think people called him Ramboy?
Just stop.
Here's the ending. Anything you want to say?
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Yep. You ready?
1, 2, 3. It's beautiful!
Well, that's it. What did you think, guy who showed up in the episode?
Well, I think the movies are great, but the game is just kinda, average.
Do you think we'll ever get another Lethal Weapon movie?
Between the game and the movie franchise, well, I think we'll always just be left wanting more.
Did I mention the Lethal Weapon TV show?
I really wish you wouldn't. Did someone not wait, no, that was a bad one. It's been revoked. It's just been revoked.
Move over, I'm gonna play.
What the heck? I don't think you snatched it well enough. Just okay, got it.
1, 2, 3. It's
sorry. What, are you crazy?
You wanna see crazy? I'll show you crazy.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, you wanted me to lean in? Gotcha.
Yeah. Why didn't you hit it when the light was off? Huh?
Well, you? Who even? Yo, just take it from me. Just take it from me. Don't wait for it. Just snatch it. This is real. This is real life, Patrick. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What is this? Ow. How'd this even fit in here? Get out of here, y'all see it. What are these? Yeah. Yeah. Make you guys fight. Oh, we don't want this. Maybe I can learn how to write a better scene. I still don't know anything. I'm so thirsty. I burned my lip. This is getting ridiculous. Red monkey. I'm angry. This stupid thing. You know, all I wanted to do was build a shelf for these games behind me so I wouldn't have to sit in front of the couch anymore. Is that so much to ask? Is that such a big deal? Man, I'm mad. You know, I really need to calm down and find my Zen. The Intergalactic Ninja.
When you think of cool stuff from the 90s, what kind of stuff do you think of? Comic books, video games, TV shows, and not like live adult dramas, I mean animated TV shows, like Saturday morning stuff. Some pretty obvious examples of this would be Spider-Man or X-Men or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Superpowers, mutations, that sort of stuff. But then came the subject of today's episode. Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja. He first came along in 1987, a few years after the first appearance of the Turtles comic book series. For a pretty comprehensive history and explanation of the Zen franchise, I suggest you watch the video uploaded by Total Nerd. But the most important thing to know, at least right now, is the Zen franchise attempted to capitalize on the craze of several different tropes of the 80s and 90s era. He's mysterious, he's a ninja, he has special abilities, he's from outer space, hence intergalactic. So, how did this work out?
Well, I don't really remember anybody talking about Zen, but let's be fair. I've got some comic books, and,
Archie Comics? As an Archie Andrews? Is Zen going to be palling around with the Riverdale gang? Is he going to help Jughead eat burgers? Is he going to vie for the attention of Betty and Veronica and spend literal decades teasing them along as nobody appears to age? Archie Andrews is ridiculous. We all know Betty is the superior candidate. Or maybe it's Cheryl Blossom. Oops, I went off on a tangent. Need to get back to centering on my Zen. So yes, at one point, Zen was published through Archie Comics. I don't know anything about the decision to do this, however, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Sonic stuff were also published under Archie. Perhaps it was a good way to reach a younger audience. Well, here's one of the Zen comic books published under Archie. Looking through it, it's fine. It's not bad. I can follow it. But it's also not blowing my mind. Kind of niche. Similar to many other franchises, Zen was published by different groups, however this led to a handful of different series, and back then it might have been difficult to keep track of which series was which. Remember, no internet back then. The point is, you ended up with different comics issued with the same numbers, and I imagine that could have been confusing to anyone who wanted to get into the franchise. More on this later in the video.
hey, but you know what? Comic books aren't for everyone. Some kids would even say, yeah, comic books are for nerds. Why read it when you can watch it? And I suppose there's a point to be made there. Not all kids like comic books, but a TV show is much more approachable. And in some cases, the TV show will get new fans to your comic book series. And that brings me on to the Zen television show, which had that awesome intro theme song that went like... There was no intro theme song. Because there was no show!
Which explains why this game wasn't exactly flying off the shelves into anyone's collection. Maybe they hoped the game would be exciting and good enough to draw people into the franchise. Well, how do you think that went?
I need to remain calm and focus on my Zen. And this game. Please don't be awful.
In the options screen, you set the difficulty, do a sound effects test, and play the game music, which actually sounds pretty cool. Take a listen. So here's the background for the game's story. It's about how pollution is bad, and acid rain, and the ozone is messed up. It kinda sounds like real life in a way, but it's all controlled by... contaminants? You mean it's not mankind just doing it to ourselves?
Trying to stay calm and peaceful here. So, somewhere along the comic books being rebooted, they decided, let's bring in an environmentally friendly element to the series. Maybe they were trying to cash in on the Captain Planet hype?
Yeah, Captain Planet, remember that guy? He can get summoned when 5 teenagers decide to use their rings. Sorry, not teenagers, planeteers, composed of earth, wind, and fire. No, not those guys. Earth, wind, fire, water, and heart. Oh, poor Mati. The power of heart? Really? Heart? You better hope it's the kind with a barracuda. Maybe I just don't understand. And I should try to understand. Try to understand. Try to understand. He's a magic man.
Did you know Kwame was voiced by LeVar Burton?
Yep, that is right. The power of Earth, Kwame, was voiced by Georgie LaForge and the Reading Rainbow guy himself. Now let me explain something. LeVar Burton just exudes coolness in every way. The only thing that would make him cooler is if he was an Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, now that I think of it, why was it just Earth, Wind, and Fire? They didn't want to add water? I guess that might have canceled out the fire, and then we'd be left with The Legend of Earthwind by Ursula K. Le Guin. Oh wait, that's Earthsea.
Stop. Gotta focus. Gotta re-zen. Back to the game.
Let's start the actual game. We are taken into a stage select screen where the choices are Toxic Factory, Forest, Offshore Oil Rig, and High-Speed Railway Stage. And it looks like we can do them in any order we want. I actually like when games let you do this, but since I'm not sure which order is recommended, let's just start with the first one, Toxic Factory. We see these 3 green guys. Are they Namekians? And they're telling us we have to set off bombs in a factory that emits harmful toxins in the air.
You know, this reminds me of something. Oh, what's that word? Oh yeah, terrorism. And wouldn't blowing it up release more toxins into the air? I mean, no, we can't get the EPA or the WHO or the EU involved. No, we're an alien guy. We gotta blow it up.
So instead of infiltrating the building, the level starts off with us already setting the bombs. So we gotta escape. I'm not even controlling him right here. There we go. Okay, so we are running. I am controlling him now. This isometric angle is awful. And you just gotta destroy these guys in the way. Watch out for the laser shooters. And what's this? Floating platforms? Try again. And that music. It's actually pretty anxiety-inducing. These stupid platforms, just gotta land it! Okay. And then up this blue elevator thing. Man, we just gotta get out of here. Oh, what's this, a claw? Is some little kid dropping quarters in a machine and trying to catch us? Just leave me alone, you stupid claw! We get further along and there's a set of red stairs. I mean, this can't be the end of the level already, can it be? Oh, hey, you flying jerks, get away from me! Oh, now what's this part? It says, get in? Oh, I missed it, and I can't jump over it.
Find my zen and try again.
After what feels like a dozen tries, I figure this part out. In order to go in, you have to hit this net thing back. You don't actually go into the space. Zen will go in automatically when the smasher comes down, as long as he was in the right spot. Once you get past this part, the factory decides to start destroying itself by cutting out the stairs with lasers. Wow, they really do not want him to get out.
I kinda wonder how we got in so easily. Someone should call OSHA.
According to the game, this factory is in North America, somewhere in the neighborhood of Chicago, I guess. Well, the way this game colors my world does not make me smile. So where do we go from here? Well, that's easy. Boss fight. He spits fireballs and turns into smoke and moves around. I'm pretty sure his name is Smogger, and I'm pretty sure he's in the comic books. But you know what? The counter in the corner is not keeping me zenful. It's got my heart racing like a soccer mom who just chugged a sugary coffee beverage before going to yoga class. This is not zenful. Just die, you smoggy, soggy, smells like a wet doggy. Yeah! And then we escape as everything blows up.
My heart is legitimately racing. What an opener. And now for this bonus stage.
You have to hit trash into a trash collector fusion core at the end of the hallway there. Hit enough of one type of trash into the thing and you get certain bonuses on the next screen. This is kind of a cool feature, but it's not easy. For our next stage, let's go to Brazil. It's a forest stage, and it says we have to save a bunch of flowers from acid rain and defeat somebody named Sulfura. She's another villain from the comics. Cool, I guess. So the idea here is she's up above, and you have to jump down and hit the flowers to bring them back to life.
Yeah, okay, just punch a flower to bring it back to life.
I kinda hate this. As soon as I get all the flowers alive, another one falls. How am I supposed to manage this? I just gotta run around getting peed on by a cloud and resurrecting flowers? Really? I mean, wouldn't it be better if I just beat the boss instead? Let me try something else. So this time, let's just jump up there, okay? Now let's go after her. Just forget the flowers. Just smash, smash, smash. Melee, melee. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah! See? Forget those flowers. Just take her out first, and now I can get the flowers. I'm being transported into the sky instead. Before the stage select screen comes back, the Namekians tell us we have to rescue Jeremy, and he's at the top of a building. Jeremy? I mean, who is he? I bet he wishes he were at home drawing pictures of mountaintops with him on top. Lemon yellow sun. I'm gonna hit this Contaminus guy with a surprise left. Hop around some more and beat him, and then we fall to the ground. I guess no Jeremy? Oh, there he is. Kid is lucky he didn't splatter the ground. This probably would not have happened if he had just spoken in class.
I'm gonna try to forget this, try to erase this. But I looked into this battle a bit further, and it turns out this battle happens after the second stage, regardless of the order in which you play them. So, let's get back to the stage select screen.
Next, let's do the oil rig near Norway, I guess? And the green dudes tell us we have to rescue people with a fire extinguisher. I don't know, man. A fire on an oil rig is gonna probably need something more than a fire extinguisher, but here we are. Hopping from platform to platform, fire falls from the sky, and oil blobs attack us. The idea is to find the fire extinguisher and then put out these rooms that are on fire, which then reveal a trapped guy thanking you for rescue. Kinda reminds me of Moonwalker. Get the last guy, walk over here to the extra guy, like one up, I mean, and you'll notice the game is now yelling at you to go up, which is giving me a Double Dragon vibe. But so now we are scaling the inflamed oil rig. Seems kind of unwise. Of course, we battle an oil dude at the top. You'd think this would be a bad place for him, right? I mean, his entire body is flammable, but beating him is pretty straightforward. You can only hurt him when he's standing upright, and the easiest way to get him to do that is drop down a level or jump up a level, which prompts him to come after you. The last stage to choose from is this railway stage. You can miss some of the switches that take you onto different paths, but you can control the card and make it jump and move further forward or backward with relation to the screen. On my second attempt, I hit the switch and it takes us onto a different path. Then we get to try our luck at battling other cart riders. Just want to point out this is not a good idea for an amusement park ride, just saying. And dodge these spike walls, which drain our energy pretty decently. Also, probably not a good idea for an amusement park ride. You'd be better off selling waterproof sponges. Toward the end, we have to hit a switch to go the correct way. Then, when we reach the end of the track, we walk up the path, and it's boss fight time. This garbage man guy actually annihilates me quickly. So what does he do? Well, he basically throws trash at you. If you swipe in just the right spot, it doesn't hurt you, or I guess it does anyway, I don't really know. After a while, he tries to grab you from underground. Successfully so, I might add. Then it's rolling barrels time, but just get that last hit in, and we are politely informed that we are now descending through a cave. You're basically falling while being chased by a roof that will crush you. Do those ghost sprites look familiar to anyone? This part is actually pretty fun, just don't get stuck on a platform. Bad idea for an amusement park. Again, just saying. Then you fight this booger swamp frog monster who looks like Kermit the Frog had a love child with a diseased gremlin. It pops up, just hit him when you get a chance. And then we are moving on to another boss fight with this collection of junk. I mean, what, is he an early model of Guilty Spark? Once again, just keep smashing the boss until you beat him, at which point you walk into a mouth cave. Now, this would be a good idea for an amusement park ride. You know, I'm just saying. Next is what I feel is one of the least creative video game cliches, fighting a clone or shadow version of yourself. We've seen it many times. Zelda 2, Smash Brothers, Final Fantasy 4, which was Final Fantasy 2 in North America, just throwing that out there, so on and so forth. In this battle, you fight a red Zen and basically go swipe crazy. Sometimes both Zens fly off the screen together, and when they come back, it isn't really clear which one is yours. Red Zen then runs off to refill his life bar, but it turns out two can play at that game. And then I end the game by beating him. You stupid jerk. I didn't need a friend who was identical to me in every way at all.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, seeing as how many iterations of the comic books exist.
Then we get to fight Contaminus again, but this time I think it's actually the final boss fight. And he's just sitting in his chair, shooting fire at us, relaxing. I mean, he's pretty nonchalant considering we just beat all of his subordinate bosses. Does he not even have the courtesy to stand up and take us seriously? Well, once his life bar depletes, he flies off into space. That seems like a natural reaction. And we fly after him, also a natural reaction. He flies around and sets up these devices that go and attack the Earth in the background. There's a percent meter that fills for each attack that gets past you. This isn't really all too challenging. I mean, the hardest part is hitting all 4 of the attack drone things before they hurt the planet. But just like the flower stage from earlier, it makes more sense to let 1 or 2 through so you can hammer away at him, and then he has been defeated and Earth is saved. Yay! The ending scene is comprised of peaceful music and a beautiful setting. You are informed that Contaminus has been defeated, but that this is not the end, clearly setting up for a sequel.
Luckily for us, that never happened. Although if I'm being fair, it's not a bad game. It's relatively enjoyable. There are a variety of stages. You can do the first handful in any order that you choose, and other than those isometric areas, the controls are pretty solid. So I gotta give Konami credit for making a decent game based off some pretty obscure source material. But when it comes to the comic books, oh man.
Okay, so follow along if you dare. So first, there was Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja, published by Zen in 1987 for issues 1 through 6. Then, in 1989, issues 1 through 4. And then, in 1991, issues 1 through 5. Then, Zen was published by Archie in 1992 for issues 1 through 3. And then again by Archie, still in 1992, for another issues 1 through 3. And then Zen switches to a different publisher named Entity in 1993 for a 4-issue series plus a 3-issue series on Young Zen, and then several other one-offs and short runs still under Entity, and then he takes a 10-year break or something before he comes back under the publisher Devil's Due.
Seriously? You think they tried hard enough? I mean, look, maybe I don't understand the lore. Maybe there's some big Zen fan out there who can explain to me how all of the runs link together in some way, but from what I can tell, not a single issue made it to double digits. So, enough of this. I wish you peace, and as I attempt to recenter my calm, I hope you enjoy this short hand painting video of Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja.
Seriously, who is this guy? I've never even seen him.
I don't know. He just said he needed it for the video.
This is dumb. It's a waste of my time.
You know, I always say I'm going to be simple and take it easy, but this time I think I will. I won't even show my face, real or drawn. Oops, I just did. I'll show you this face, and this face, and this face, and this face, and this face. Yeah, that last face, he's John Riggs, beloved retro gamer. Beloved to me, at least. He has several videos where he grades games. He's pretty fun to watch, and he gave this one game an F.
and not my style of game, and I am sorry to say I'm giving this game an F. If I have to use a manual or if I have to use a YouTube tutorial video or something like that to play a game, man, I'm not even interested, so I'll put this game as an F, sorry.
Overlord, originally released as Supremacy, Your Will Be Done, prior to traveling to the NES. Just want to point out this has nothing to do with the manga, novels, and anime by the same name, although some video games based on that franchise would be pretty cool, but no, this is entirely different. So the faces I showed earlier represent the enemies and difficulties of this game. This guy looks like Dr. Zoidberg trying out for the Ginyu Force. Then we got Boba Fett back in his punk mohawk days. Then this guy looks like Cabal and Darth Vader had a love child. Kavader? Darth Ball? Darth Ball sounds better. Good thing they didn't have twins. And the most difficult guy would be Ryan Reynolds as maskless Deadpool. Or maybe Kevin Spacey. Or their love child. I gotta go off on a nerd tangent for just a moment. When I first saw these 4 enemies and saw that it was a crazy star system, I was immediately reminded of the 4 Lords of the Diamond book series by Jack Chalker. It's about a government-hired mercenary who implants himself into 4 bodies to infiltrate 4 different planets of the same star system all at the same time. Each book covers the story of one of the clones, although they aren't really clones, and the 4 books all kind of take place at the same exact time. The planets and the societies and the subcultures all vary from planet to planet, plus the covers look kind of cool. Anyway, let's get into the game. So you'll notice you control an arrow and it can easily be moved around with the D-pad, much better than the interface for Color a Dinosaur. But the first thing you'll ask yourself is, what is all this stuff? I mean, nothing is obvious, and this is where John Riggs got it right. Without the manual, you're pretty lost, and yes, you can just look things up online, but try to remember, back then the internet wasn't really a thing when this game came out. Part of the appeal of the NES is the ability to pop a game in and just start playing, but here I'm not even sure how to get started or what any of this stuff means, but there's only so many buttons, right? Well, I decided to go into this thing blind, and it took me a while to figure it out, but I did, so here we go. Let's call this the main screen. The objective is to take over the enemy base, which you visually see on the rotating star map on the top left. Your home planet is the green one on the bottom of all that swirliness. All the other little dots spinning around are uninhabited planets that you and the enemy can terraform and take from each other. In order to beat the enemy, you don't have to take over all the planets, but you're most likely going to get several of them in order to beat that enemy. The easiest difficulty has 8 total planets, and in increasing difficulty there are 16, 24, and then 32 planets, along with a more challenging AI enemy. In the top right is the display for the planet you have selected. It'll show you if the planet has a city, if it's being terraformed, if it's volcanic, or if it's an enemy planet or the people are hungry. Just below that is a button that quickly jumps the view back to your main planet. This is useful when you have a bunch of planets under your control. And at the bottom is just text which tells you alerts like a planet is finished being terraformed, or populations are getting critically low, or the enemy is attacking you. Then we have this menu bar, and this is where most people probably lose interest if they haven't already. So I'll explain the basics of each one of these and how they integrate. This icon of BB-8 asking for a hug is the terraform icon. Select a planet, click this button, and off the terraformer goes, if you have one. The icon of a hook trying to pick up the Lincoln Memorial is the spaceship dock. This is where you can load and unload your various ships, prepare them for launch, or scrap them. The spaceship icon, because it clearly is a spaceship, is where you take ships in and out of orbit or send them to other planets. The stock market symbol is actually a menu where you can see your credits, which is the in-game currency, fuel, food, population growth, and set taxes for each individual planet. Running the taxes high will gain you a lot of credits but will result in dwindling population. Set the taxes too low and the population will explode, resulting in rapidly dwindling food supplies. The magnifying glass is used to spy on other planets, but I never really found this useful since your goal is to attack the other planets and take them over, which is what the skull and crossbones icon lets you do. But before you can rush in and attack, you gotta use the fist to buy defensive and offensive armaments. Unless the opponent has already attacked you, buying these items can cause the enemy to prioritize building up offense and defense. The final icon is the vehicle purchasing menu. This is probably the first place you should really go since you need to buy the atmosphere processor in order to terraform any other planets. Once you purchase it, go back to the main screen, pick a planet, and then click the BB-8 icon, which will send the processor off. It takes some time for the planet to be terraformed, but once it's done, you can send the processor off to the next planet. There's no need to purchase any additional processor. Some of the other craft you can buy will assist with resource management and production, and will do better or worse on certain planet types. Send farming stations to tropical locations, send mining stations to volcanic planets. Been through the desert on a horse with no name? Send some solar satellites to generate lots of energy. Of course, you can send these ships to whichever planets you want. In order to do so, you select the ship you want in the dock of the planet at which it is located. If you just bought a ship, it should be at your home planet. Load it with people, food, energy, fuel, prep it for launch, then switch to the orbit screen, pick the ship on the left box, click the other box to get it out of the dock and into orbit, then change the middle box to the planet you want to send it to, then click the send button. Did you get that? Once your ship gets to the other planet, you'll have to tell it to dock, and then you can unload the supplies. The preferred ship for moving stuff around is the cargo ship, and it follows those same principles. Generally, once you send the mining or farming stations somewhere, that's probably where you'll want to keep them unless you're going to abandon a planet for whatever reason. Since different planets do better at producing different resources, you'll want to consider using cargo ships to move these resources from place to place. The menus and interface take a moment to get used to, but once you understand how to navigate, you're all set. And that brings us to war. In order to take down the enemy planets, you'll need to purchase a battle cruiser and arm it with weapons. Then you can send it to an enemy planet and see what you can accomplish. On the flip side, you might consider arming your planets with defenses. If the enemy comes after you and you have no defenses established, they will take your planet without any resistance. So that's about it, folks. This isn't the kind of game at which you can cheat, look up a Let's Play, or enter codes. You will learn how to play it if you actually want to beat it. Beat it. No one wants to be defeated. So I'm going to dedicate this next part of the video to John Riggs. Let's beat this thing on the hardest difficulty, so our will can be done.
I can't find a place to hide. Get your children to safety.
The evening news has something important to tell you.
Supremacy! Your will be done! Your will be done!
It's true, I gave Overlord an F, because it deserves it. However, I'm giving this show an F-. I said what I said. I didn't stutter. As in this show. F. For fantastic!
Don't get too excited, we're doing another voiceover episode, and I sound like this because I'm sick. Yeah, dead dudes get colds apparently. Anyway, you might remember some time back we looked at that game where Red Shirt Mouse Man was getting numbers. Well, this is kind of the companion game to that, but instead of numbers, it's going to be about getting letters. I probably could have done both of these games together, but man, that would have been really boring. Just like the other game, there are 3 difficulty settings, and I don't care to play the game more than once. Letterland, pretty convenient name for a game about letters, has 6 stages: Yukon, Swamp, Forest, Pyramid, Jungle, and Caribbean. I'll pick the Yukon stage to show you how it's gonna go. Goofface picks up Mouse Man in front of a museum, and then he's platforming in a snowy mountain. You gotta use his net on these diamond things, and it reveals a letter in the bottom right. The platforming is very basic, since this is a kid's game after all. Once you get all 3 letters, you'll see it spells bat. Great. At the end of the level, you then have to capture this big block of cheese, and then you see the bat on the next screen. Cute. Then throw the cheese block into this Susian cooker from my nightmares, and out plops a plaque thing for the letter Y, which we then have to select. Not sure what the letter Y has to do with bats, other than why a bat. Yeah, I know, dumb joke. When you go back into Yukon, you end up building a different word. This time it's net, which is weird because we already have a net. And then the machine makes the letter X? You know, this makes no sense. Then we get cow. Wow, you ever try catching a cow with a net? And then owl, although I don't think this game is much of a hoot or very wise. And then we get log. You know, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's better than bad, it's good. After that, the Yukon area on the map has you-know-whose giant face on it to indicate you cleared the stage. Yukon. More like you can't believe I am wasting my time doing this. I know, another dumb sick joke. We go to the swamp section next with this weird thing, and then a gator head launches us into the air. That's some DKC action right there. And the first word here is gum, which is interesting because I don't think the theme parks associated with this character even sell gum because of how messy it is to clean up. And where's the rest of his body? Later, we build the word bag, maybe like bag of bones. Nah, you can guess what's in the bag though. Hey, it's not that bad of a game. I suppose not, there's just no challenge. We move on to the forest, which looks pretty depopulated. Forests usually have more trees, and the word we build is ice? Wouldn't this have made more sense in the Yukon stage instead of a cow? Now I kinda want a milkshake. Then we get bed in the forest stage. I'd rather be sleeping than playing this. Can you please stop subjecting us to these jokes? I guess I should be more considerate and not torment you with all my jokes, but it's the only thing helping me get through this game, and I'm still collecting the letters to complete the alphabet. Jumping around in the Caribbean section on sandcastles, yeah, I'm sure that's their main infrastructure, is sand buildings. And the jungle isn't any better. Nobody welcomed me, and I don't see any fun in games, but apparently we do get to have some pie. I wonder if it's rhubarb pie. Is Garrison Keillor hiding in this jungle? Also in the jungle, we find an ear. Clowns to the left of me and jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Mega points if you can piece together this reference. Well, be sure to arm yourself because we are in the pyramid stage now, and we are approaching the end, I hope. So we make our last trip into the pyramid land, jump around and find the letters, which spell sun. Put the last letter in the alphabet, and then all the letters fly by in front of the museum. You know, I don't know, it looks to me like they are getting loose again. And then, of course, the credits go by to embarrass whichever humans were involved in this game. And then we get the credits to embarrass whoever was involved with making this episode. It was me. Yeah, I'm still sick, so I figured we could knock out another one of these. And I'm too lazy just yet to try building that shelf again. Soon, though. Anyway, whenever you see this high-tech logo, you should know to be on your guard. And this is Rollerblade Racer. I mean, look how glaring the box art is. Ugh. You play as this loser, I mean this kid Kirk, and he's so proud of these rollerblades he just bought. Proud enough to wear them like a necklace and stand around in socks. And the rollerblades are the same color as the rest of his outfit, diluted ketchup. He needs our help getting 5,000 points to enter into a rollerblade challenge. Before you start the challenges to gather points, you can practice, but don't bother. The first challenge is basically just to survive. It reminds me of Paperboy, where we are at this slanted angle and everything is after you. Is this what we can expect at the competition? Unsupervised toddlers rolling into the street, missing manhole covers, street in disrepair? Yeah, Kurt comes from the rough part of town, hence the diluted ketchup. You finish the challenge, find out how many points you got and how many more you need. And man, look at Kirk, he looks so smug. The next challenge is jumping barrels. Are we going to find Donkey Kong at the end of this thing? Or are these just leftover barrels from Mighty Final Fight? The next section appears to be in a city or a downtown area, and like before, you just gotta make it to the end and limit the amount of falls you endure. If you get in this one spot, you can basically cheese the level, which is good because a time bonus is an easy way to make your points, which by now we have more than enough points for the challenge, as Smuggy Kirkman tells us. But he's such an overachiever, he makes us keep doing the challenges. Instead of going through the cone course, I say let's cheese it and head to the side again. And same with the beach level, cheese. Did the game designers put this in here on purpose? Yeah, really high tech, guys. Eventually, we do get to the Super Rollerblade Challenge. I don't see any spectators or anyone trying to interfere with us. You can actually cheese the Super Rollerblade Challenge. If you do, you get this ending which says we need to practice more and let's hit the pavement. Essentially, I think this is the bad ending, but still technically an ending. If you do the competition correctly, you'll see points awarded as you go, and if you do well enough, we win first place where Kirk is given a medallion around his neck and he wields the Eye of Sauron. He says he can't wait to do this again. Well, I certainly can wait until the end of time to do this again, and it would still be too soon. Then it shows the credits, including a guy named Stefan and an artist named Kevin Kirk, probably the namesake for the character. I wonder, did this team of individuals draw straws for the name of the main character? And to think, I was going to buy or rent rollerblades to record myself falling all over the place. Maybe hire some dogs and toddlers to trip me up. Shut down a neighborhood street with barrels and cones. Okay, enough of this. Credits. I'm going to go take a nap. Our story opens today in the game room, where the first player guy is ready to play the next game. There is no NES controller in sight. He sits lazily in front of the couch instead of on it like a normal person. He failed at building the shelf and has lacked the eagerness to build it again. Until now. Ahem, until now. I said until now. He's got shelves and racks. He's got poles. He's got caps. He's observing. He's aligning. He's thinking. I'm maligning.
What?
He's got nails. He's got hammers. He's hammering nails and nailing hammers. Nailing nails and hammering hammers. The hammers get hammered. Now he's washing the hammers.
That's enough.
And we skip gently into the future where the shelf is...
There we go. Let's take a look.
complete.
Oh, come on. And now, here's something we hope you'll really enjoy.
So we got Rocky and Bullwinkle, or to be more accurate, the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends. I guess the friends went on an adventure or something, so now we just think of the show as Rocky and Bullwinkle, which stars Rocket J. Squirrel and Bullwinkle J. Moose. The show aired originally from 1959 to 1964 and was then syndicated and replayed ever since. I mean, the animation style makes sense for the time, and it feels genuine and warm, even several decades later. The bad guys on the show are Boris Badenov and Natasha Fatale, along with Fearless Leader. The show is also the source material for Mr. Peabody, a time-traveling dog. I kinda questioned the impetus for creating this game. I mean, I liked the cartoon, but was the Rocky and Bullwinkle hustle so strong in the early 90s, 30 years after the show ended, that an NES game was necessary? Well, you're looking at it. You can decide. I give the game credit. It has a plot, and it makes it pretty simple to understand. Bullwinkle needs to travel to collect his inheritance. But that song, oof. Bullwinkle, he's a moose, he throws bombs, he's not a ghost. Rocky cannot walk up the stairs. I can't imagine a worse song, so yeah, you can switch between Rocky and Bullwinkle. Rocky can't walk up the stairs, which is strange, but at least he's able to fly. So why even use Bullwinkle? Oh, because flying depletes your health, that's why. Well, I was wrong about the music. I feel like my ears are being invaded by 6-year-olds learning to play the recorder. Probably the same 6-year-olds who drew the backgrounds, although I kinda like the backgrounds. Haha! I actually kinda like charging this goon with the moose. And how the Bombardier pilot has a banner with their mission on it. Get Moose and Squirrel. I mean, imagine if all planes did that. Bring people to their vacation destination. Land safely at the airport. These stages are really pretty simple and consist of basic platforming. There's a boat stage, and unless it's a submarine, hopefully not Red October. Eventually you reach the Bullwinkle house, although the bad guys are also here. But the house has this weird underground area. I'm beginning to wonder if the inheritance is a cask of Amontillado, particularly since I see a bunch of skulls. I'm beginning to feel a bit like Fortunato, although I think we might succumb to that music first. Was the composer in a fist fight while playing? Anyway, get past this last enemy, lady person, and you get the end screen where Rocky, Bullwinkle, and this scummy tax guy are the winners. Hey, maybe he's the friend, you know, Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Well, that's it. It's actually a pretty short game if you don't engage the enemies unnecessarily. Overall, I would say go ahead and skip this game, but definitely check out the cartoon. I'll see you soon.
Hey everybody. Okay, I'm sure you're wondering, where have I been? Well, I've been working on a strategy. You know, you might not know the story of Sinestful, but here's a short tale that will tell you how I'm here, trapped by the Nindevil. So before player 1 guy came around, me and the Nindevil made a bet. We were going to play rock, paper, scissors, and whoever lost had to wear a sock and talk through it until they beat Super Mario Bros. 1 on an NES. The Nindevil said, no one can help you beat Super Mario Brothers, and you have to play it one-handed with no help from any other human. So we did it. We started to play rock, paper, scissors. I selected rock, he selected bomb, and boom! He started laughing, and then suddenly all I could do was talk through a sock in my hand until I beat Super Mario Brothers one-handed. So I tried to play Super Mario Brothers one-handed, and it was much more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Jetsons, meet the Jetsons. They're a futuristic family living in Orbit City. Here's a game that we have got to see. Player one guy has a holiday hat, a controller, and a very impatient cat. Nindeviled, eggs Nindeviled. We are gonna play a game now. Where's the Nindevil? He's probably on that phone!
It's that time of year, but unlike last year, I'm not gonna open this thing. Nope, not gonna do it. All right, fine. I'll do it. There's a note in this thing? The note says, Player 1 guy, please charge this phone so I can talk to you. No thanks, let's play the game.
Oops, I got a little ahead of myself. Quick background. The Jetsons is an animated sitcom which originally aired in the early 1960s, around the same time as Rocky and Bullwinkle. The animation once again has that warm, genuine appeal. Produced by Hanna-Barbera, the Jetsons are a futuristic family living through comical situations. Usually, everything works out by the end of each story, even if at the misfortune of George Jetson, the head of the family. You might consider checking out the voice cast for the Jetsons. Chances are you won't recognize many of the names, but take a peek at the careers of some of these people and you'll be blown away by how much entertainment, acting, and film history comprise the careers of these actors and actresses. One name you should recognize is Mel Blanc as the voice of Cosmo Spacely. What's up, boss? You might also note the voice actress for Rosie the Robot also voiced Wilma Flintstone.
Okay, wait. Does that mean Rosie the Robot is the reincarnation of Wilma Flintstone? Whoa.
Alright, let's play the game. The title screen has nothing to hate on, and if you don't press start quick enough, you get the roll call. I find it odd that they intro Elroy before his mother. Sorry if that sounds too woke. I've always wondered why George and Jane didn't give their son an alliterative name. I like Astro though, that's a cool name. But I do question if Rosie follows Asimov's 3 laws of robotics.
Yeah, we'll look into that later.
Here's the backstory. George is asleep at work when his boss, Cosmo Spacely, no relation to Cosmo the Merry Martian, wakes him up because the semi-titular character Cogswell, Spacely's competitor, set up a mining factory and is making money. Spacely then explains the factory could destroy the planet and walk over the rights of some aliens. So in order of importance, Spacely listed money first, and then destruction of a planet and the rights of the presumed inhabitants. And of course, Spacely is sending George to stop all this.
Such terrible decision-making. Yeah, let's send in George Jetson to violate a dozen or so international interplanetary laws when we should just send in the UNSC.
Hoorah! Start the game, and the first location is the packing factory, probably Amazon. Rosie stops to tell you stuff. Why isn't she at home doing robot-made stuff? Asimov?
I said we'd look into that later.
She tells you about these packs and these switches, but you can kind of just go past her without listening. There are some enemies, and it seems as if you have no attack. Get further along, and I am knocked out.
So Rosie was actually giving us important information? Let's try this again.
You need to clear boxes like these whenever you can, since they give you item packs, which look like giant pills, and stars and such, which will be useful later in the game. The boxes can be used to make more items appear and can also be used to attack enemies. While a no-box run of this game sounds kinda cool, the intent is to stock up on stars and pills. I feel kinda weird saying that. Switches, of course, can do different things. This one reverses gravity for a short while, which allows George access to a 1-up. Did you know 7-Up got its name because it originally had 7 specific ingredients, one of them being lithium?
So anytime I hear somebody say 1-up in video game lingo, it makes me imagine a beverage consisting of only one ingredient. Weird, I know.
There's a switch that pauses platforms so you can jump across. Kinda cool. Keep going along and you get turned into a package before Cogswell admonishes you and sets his robot dog on you. Basically, the first boss. I don't feel bad attacking this pup because he's attacking us and he's also robotic. Cogswell foolishly supplies boxes for us to smash against Centro, but look out for the smaller robot dogs and projectiles. Hit him 5 or 6 times and that's it. George moves on to the next place. The Botanical Gardens. Future gardens are bizarre. Bees attack us, which I guess isn't that weird, sorry Macaulay, and archers shoot at visitors. We also have these Venus flytraps which have evolved to want to eat humans, and we can ride a water fountain up to a higher level. In the future, I guess disintegration by extreme water pressure isn't a concern. I like this part where you reverse gravity, which keeps a giant apple from Indiana Jonesing you. The boss is a spider who spits spider juice and drops apples, and naturally, you use the apples on the spider. Is the spider a doctor?
I guess Charlotte's Web is not fondly remembered in the future.
After however many hits, the spider is done, and the kid who looks like he's from Oblong says something about having left George a glider, but it doesn't work without a remote or something. So we go to the gym where we slide under some meathead gym goer, flip a switch while robots play baseball, hop a few platforms, and find Astro, who gives us a remote but taunts us for not working out. You stupid future dog, I'm busy committing felonies for my boss to pay for your gym membership. He also mentions the remote lets us move items or something, and then we are promptly off to a gear factory. I hope the gear factory plays Fear Factory. You know, someone missed out on an opportunity to have Fear Factory as guests on Fear Factor. Instead, it's more 8-bit music. Factory robot workers fly around us. You flip a gravity switch and you can get to a hidden area. Another switch pauses gears temporarily. It's evident that platforming needs are growing with each level, which I would argue is appropriate. Further along, Dr. Far Out, who says he is a cog expert, maybe someone should tell Marcus Phoenix, warns you about the area ahead being dangerous or something, I don't know. I wish he'd be far out of my way, please. And we are now able to summon a bird thing and you can direct it to attack enemies. I like that. Reminds me of the bird thing from Trolls in Crazyland. Then we are running down a hallway while gears chase us. Basically, just run to the right and jump and dodge and don't stop. Now I want you to focus on those gears. You see them? The 2 big ones and a little blue one? Focus on the way they are spinning. Now, please note the orientation of those spins would not actually work in real life. So just be mesmerized by that for a moment. Then Cogswell tells us something before we take on the next boss. He bounces around and the screen scrolls and the gravity switches, but nothing phenomenal. Little known fact, the boss's face is modeled off the guy from Fear Factory. Then we are off to Dreamland. No, not Kirby's. And it looks like patients or employees or abductees or sleepwalking. There are these machines every so often that bring enemies into existence, and you want to shut them off to prevent more enemies from materializing. Instead of Dreamland, this place is more like Nightmare Land. There are also these teleporters with branching paths. This one takes us to a place which morphs into something that looks like the gardens from earlier. Anyway, further on, this guy flies left to right in his little plane while dropping little robots. You throw boxes up at him, not particularly challenging. When you take him out, he's basically like, hey, good job, George. Since you beat me, I'm just giving up, and here's an item that makes you invincible.
You know, if he had an item that can make him invincible, why wouldn't he just use it on himself and take George out? The future is a weird place.
And speaking of weird, we next go to a Spaceball Stadium, which basically looks like floating basketball. You can shoot baskets. Get out of the game, old man! Elroy thanks us by giving us his magnetic boots and says we can use them to walk on the ceiling. Thanks, kid. mean, that sounds good and all, but it doesn't seem very useful in the next stage where the lights have to be flipped on. It gets kind of ridiculous with these barely discernible platforms and having to guess where to jump. Then lava creeps up on George from below, which can be lowered with more switches. Literally, the floor is lava. And keep in mind, we're up in the sky. The boss looks like a dragon in a hose had a love child. However that works. The task is to manage the lava with the switches, dodge its projectiles, and then get your hits in. From Lava Land, not the lethal kind, we head to Cosmo World where meatballs fall from the sky and you can hit switches which make George small. When he's small, he's rather defenseless, so the only reason you'd want to do this would be to reach a heart in a place otherwise inaccessible to a full-size Georgie. The jumps here seem less affected by gravity as well. The game designers are also throwing in some new challenges, such as an extra life, which would require small George to reverse gravity. The bosses are these dweebs whose names I didn't catch at the beginning of the level. The challenge here is you have to bring your own ammo for once, which depletes the majority of the pills? I forgot what we're calling those. Once the first guy is out, we pill mill the second guy before a robot tells us, "Here, have a new weapon," which is a screen-clearing flash of some kind. Then we are off to a music venue, which we auto-scroll on a hoverboard thing while flying speakers yell out, "Twang!" and groupies try to jump up on us. There's also this tool who flies around singing notes, not metered. For the most part, just hang to the left and dodge what you can. At the end of the level, Judy tells us we can use her hoverboard. Thanks, Judy, but I'm pretty sure we just used it. Also, your dad is a criminal, so this might be the last time I see you. Next up is Cogswell's office. Could this be the finale? Crash land into the lobby where the receptionist does nothing to stop us. Fired. And make our way down an elevator where we destroy this floating refrigerator, and down another elevator where a series of machines makes George change outfits. Fun. I mean, this whole stage is actually pretty fun. You have to time your gravity reversal somewhat. You flip switches and ride TV screens. I mean, I'd rather ride around on the TV screen than be attacked by them like we were in Wayne's World. We get to fight that robot dog from the beginning of the game again, but he doesn't have boss music this time. Once we get to Cogswell, he goes all Dr. Robotnik on us. He's only a challenge until you figure out the pattern of dodging the spike balls. Hit him several times and he goes through a wardrobe change. His next form dips from one side to the other and pounds the ground. I would say this version is even easier than the first. And then he changes into a third armor with spikes, which reminds me of Destructor! This version seems tougher, but all you have to do is duck under the gear projectiles and avoid the electric shock stuff. You don't have to get in the middle of it like we did in the Trolls game. After you take him out, George tells Cogswell to turn off a computer, but then all the robots are apparently going crazy. You know, I wonder if this is our fault.
I suppose I should have consulted Asimov before this point.
And so it turns out this is Cogswell's caper. And of course, George is going to have to clean up the mess. So we head off to the mining facility, which looks like the words I just said. Robots are flying around, some of them dive at us. We get to do some more gravity reversal stuff, and there are spikes which completely take you out. The switches will control openings in the floor. Sometimes switches will reverse gravity, and then you need to move quickly to not get spiked by an incoming wall. Does not seem too industrious for a mining facility. Later on, these gremlin Ewok-looking guys complain about Cogswell's computer causing mayhem. Drop down and dodge rocks and flip the levers on the computer, and that takes care of the problem, apparently. Surely they didn't need George for that. Then you'll want to escape this madness. This would be a good time to use the invincibility power-up you acquired earlier in the game. Get to the end and hop in a rocket ship, and now you fly through the credits.
You know, I'm kind of disappointed there wasn't another boss fight, but I guess Cogswell kind of counts as the last boss.
Then George is with his family, and in the next scene, George's boss is hollering at him again. Classic George, committing felonies and sleeping on the job.
So there you have it, folks. It's an okay game. I would have liked some more reliance on using the items, but it's absolutely worth a playthrough. Now, as far as what do the Jetsons have to do with the holidays, the holidays are technically also in the future?
Well, that's it for Season 3. I'll see you next month, or next year, rather, for Season 4.
Jetsons, meet the Jetsons, they're a futuristic family, living in Orbit City. Here's a game that we have got to see. Player 1 guy has a holiday hat, a controller, and a very impatient cat. Nindeviled, eggs Nindeviled. We are gonna play a game now. Where's the Nindevil? He's probably on that phone.